นะครับ Hi. Oh, so everybody is here. 1, 2, and hello, Bibi and Kunwa. Thank you. Well, hey, David is up. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Bye. Okay, now you can save your battery with the cameras off. Thank you. Save your connections. And I will go through pretty fast นะครับผม Everything that you ask will be answered if you watch all the video, but we will have them in here as well. See this thing. So what we have yesterday, we discussed a lot about the triangulations and why we do it, right? We already discussed about everything about triangulation, and Mr. Kamson asking about a panel. But the point is, a panel is useless if you do not understand how to use statistic. You may have a lot of panels, but they don't know how to use score sheets. That panel is not helping. Okay, so to have the panel, we have to go through all this step to understand number, how to use statistic, everything else. And let's see from there, yesterday there is a number here that we are stuck with the questions. The basic question that we have yesterday is, just to answer Todd's question again, when they say you get the right odd curve, okay? So the question is very simple, like which of the 3 coded samples are the odd curves? So the probability of the correct answer is 33%. So that means correct, okay? So if they are able to find the odd curve, that means that's the correct answer. That means the correct judgment. So if there are like 10 people, as I see 10 people, 1 person can answer 6. So there is probability of 60 possible correct judgment or correct answer, right? Then but don't forget to get a correct judgment, that is only 33% chance to get it right. Okay, it's only 33% chance to get it right. So I would say that it's not easy to do triangulations, but to get an answer, we get statistics, the number, the data, the collected data to prove it. Like as we mentioned yesterday, this is triangulation test. There is a table for it. So when we discuss and debating with each other on the on the finding, you would say something like, based on your hypothesis of this coffee and that coffee is the same and there is no difference between them. Based on your hypothesis, this is our finding. Our findings based on 102 people. Let's see if there is 102 people on the table here. There is 102 people right here, okay? That 102 people, based on this finding and our sample of 100 people, we need to find at least 36, like right here, at least 36 correct answer, okay? But if that 102 people on your cupping table of 6 possible answer, okay, with the 6, that means each assessor, each person will have a chance to answer 6 times. So that is like 600 and I don't know, let's say about 600 possible correct answer, right? With that 600 possible correct answer, all they need is 36. Okay, if you get 36 correct answer, they found the odd cup. That would mean, I would say, with 36 correct answer, that is corresponded to 40% significant numbers, which is very low reliable. But if you get it to the level of, if you got 50 correct answer right here, like 50, 50 here, 50, okay? With 100 people, from the finding of 100 people, there is 50 correct responded, and that correct judgment is referred to 0.001, which is like 0.01% significant values. And that means is very reliable. The reliability is like you can trust the data higher, okay? So it depends on what number you want to use. That's why they say the p-value has to be mentioned on the data, and it's up to the reader to interpret that data นะครับอันนี้กำลังพูดถึงว่าเวลาเราเก็บข้อมูลมามันไม่ใช่หน้าที่เราในการที่จะบอกว่ามันใช่หรือมันไม่ใช่นะครับผมแต่มันเป็นหน้าที่ของผู้อ่านหรือผู้ที่จะมาเรียนรู้ว่าโอเคจากงานวิจัยเนี่ยครับผมและด้วยสมมุติฐานที่เราว่าแบบนี้เราไปทำการเซอร์เวย์แล้วพบว่าจากบุคลากร100คนมีคนตอบถูกทั้งหมด36คนหรือ40คนทำให้มีความน่าเชื่อถืออยู่ในถ้าเกิด40คนอาจจะได้ความน่าเชื่อถืออยู่ที่ p value 20นะครับผม0.2 แต่ถ้าที่20แต่ถ้าเกิดลงไปที่ p value 0.01% อันนั้นก็จะเป็นตัวเลขที่คุณจะต้องให้ได้ถึง50% correct answer นะครับเพื่อสร้างความน่าเชื่อถือและ support สมมติฐานของคุณ to support to accept or you do not accept them but you with this data I am failed to reject your hypothesis but sometimes we do not have enough data for example from one I don't know if you get more than 50 people answer from that 102 people you get 50 correct answer let's say you get 60 or 70 correct answer then my conclusion to your hypothesis I would say something like well from my survey out of these 100 people there are 60 correct response 70 correct response which is higher than 0.001 p-value therefore I reject your hypothesis I do not believe that these two is the same I think they are different because we do the survey and there's 70 correct answer based on 100 peopleนะครับ so that is how we use data to answer the numbers so I'm not really confirm like where is the alpha and beta come from but this is the table that they use so statistic will help you be more objectiveนะครับ be more objective otherwise if you just do 3 people here 3 people there's a table for 3 people but 3 people you do not reach a 0.01 alpha value you only reach like maybe 0.05 alpha value you only believe that much of 3 people but you can use 3 peopleนะครับ but the more the better so that triangulation test but if you do something like another one duo trio test this is a different one for duo trio test there is a probability the chance to get the right answer 50-50 right because the one on the left is your reference which the client will know this is the reference then you ask them A 142 or 632 which one is identical or something so that is like the assessor when you take a survey it's a 50% chance of guessing okay when people are just guessing it therefore you need more data to get that so let's look at the number for 100 assessor how much data do they need to make it believable so this is duo trio test so duo trio test there is their own table of duo trio test for example 100 people to make it reliable you can see that 100 here make a table that's 100 right there you will need all the way at least 66 1 second here you need at least 66 correct judgment when you compare to 50 correct judgment earlier with the triangulation right triangulation is harder so even though you get the correct judgment less but it's more reliable but if you do something easy you do an easy survey yes you can do an easy survey but the data you collect gotta be more now you need to have like 66 correct response for 100 people นะครับ to make your data more reliable, to make your data to say okay there is difference but if you cannot, if your data collect, oh, okay, it's below 50, therefore they cannot find the difference. So with not enough correct response, we fail to reject your hypothesis นะครับเราไม่สามารถค้านคุณได้ so it is all number and how we talk in sensory science นะครับ it's not so every time when we go to a table and people, oh, I find this one is different. Well, you find it different, but we need a survey of at least 10 people or 12 people นะครับ to confirm that what you just said. Okay, who is not confused is good. Who is confused is okay, because we just need to do this next week, and when we do it, you will see it, because we would have two table, 6 sets, and another table of another 6 sets. So it would be 12 possible answer, right, per person, and we have 12 people. 12 times 12, that's 200 something possible correct answer. If you find the numbers and they are different, we will mix and match and we do the numbers and come back to this table นะครับ so it would be better if after we do some cupping. Right now it's just numbers. Get a little bit confused. So the in-or-out tests are different from control tests that we will talk about. And about cupping form, there is many other forms. This is something that you can try, Kim, when you talk about yesterday, how you evaluate coffee and you want people to have a local flavor profile, right, for the farmer to understand. You can have your own cupping form for the local farmer, okay? Because maybe SCA cupping form is too complicated for the local farmer. You can make it simple. Like, okay, is it astringent? Is it sweet? Is it bitter? Maybe a basic cupping form. You can create your own cupping form. Okay. And for SCA cupping form is usually used by a trained trainer like us. Even though for us, we will go through each and every section fast, because everybody, if you want to go into detail under each attribute, I would suggest and recommend you to follow through the video. It's a lot. It's like 10 something hours. Then the purpose of the cupping format is already say, SCA cupping form is the standard for evaluation green coffee. Just the green quality. It's not like, okay, maybe someone, I don't know, BB make a new coffee, she just wrote a new profile. That new profile, you do not need SCA cupping form to do that, okay? Maybe you like it or you don't like it, that's fine, but SCA cupping form is actually designed for green coffee quality. But if you use your SCA cupping form to evaluate your roast level or your roast profile, I mean, you can use it too, but it wasn't designed for it. Just so that, you know, people might ask, like, why you use this form? It's not for it. Okay, I just want to compare it, you know, sample to sample. But the purpose, yes, for green coffee only, which is why we focus to train everyone here, all 10 of you on this session and the previous session, to evaluate green coffee, because Lao has amazing green coffee. Yesterday, after our class at 4:30, 5 o'clock, I had another session with CQI for lecturer programs, and they talk a lot about Lao coffee. The CQI is very proud that they are supporting Lao coffee, and that's how they initiate with Lao Hmong team to send the coffee to the US, and how they can help you supply, you know, people can start ordering Lao coffee through CQI. And then there is a new program that's coming up. It's not just Q grader like that. There is a Q coffee where they evaluate your roasted coffee bean for the final products. So maybe there is a coffee from Lao that would have a tag on the coffee bag. Oh, this Lao coffee is a Q product, is a Q coffee. That means this coffee is 80 plus score from cupping. So that is something new that CQI already mentioned, and they talk a lot about Lao coffee. And yes, there was like 40 something lecturer that is in the groups. So I think it's very important for you guys where you are in the area, you ต้นน้ำ เนอะ you ต้นน้ำ where you are in the area of farming and producing coffee to evaluate green coffee properly นะครับ That's very important. Now, this is something Mr. Kamson might ask, but Mr. Kamson asked the later section. This is the protocol to operate cupping, you know. Last time we already did this, so it will be pretty fast. We can refer to our foundation level. That cupping is designed for coffee, period, done. The cupping is methodology that designed specific to coffee, and so we can evaluate systematically. Systematically, like 1, aroma, 2, the taste, 3, the texture, okay? And this was, as I said, Ted Linker mentioned it, he's a CQI founder as well, so that's why we are pretty much related to CQI. And then the methodology, we already discussed about it. When we cup the coffee, we want to find the bad, we want to find the good, and we want to find its intensity of the good and the bad, and we want to record the result. So the reason we're cupping, is there something wrong with the coffee, right? Is there something good in the coffee? What's the intensity of something wrong with that coffee? What's the intensity of something good about that coffee? And then record it, what's the score? And maybe the score is not good, but because we recorded, oh, okay, something wrong with the coffee, I found this defect, I found this taint. We record that result and send it back to the farmer. Or even though for your own use, you need to record it. If you don't record it, I don't know, what's wrong with the coffee again? I don't remember. We will forget fast. We will forget very fast. So that is the purpose of cupping. What is good about it? What's bad about it? How to fix it. Then we will talk about already, cupping form is used by expert. By the end of next week, you will be a trained tester. You'll be an expert. Everybody here will understand how to use the form. It is just a matter of practice to make sure that you get more practice, then you get faster on using the form. More practice, you get calculation faster, how to adding up all the score, so that within 1 hour, you finish one section. Cupping is fast. You do not want to wait all day just cupping only like 6 coffee. 1 hour, 6 coffee. Next hour, 6 coffee. The next hour, 6 coffee. In a day, you might have like 100 or 200 cups of coffee. It's a lot of work. Then the amazing thing about this form is now you get to score 2 things at the same time. How good it is and the intensity, the quantity of it. So it's a mix of quality and quantity. It's not simple. It's not just, oh, fruity, juicy mouthfeel or something like that anymore. It will be very like, okay, low acidity, high acidity, lingering sweetness, and we have like a smooth body. How's the mouthfeel? You have everything in every box. We have so a lot of detail in that as well. So that is how we use it. So look into how to use it. So left to right, up to down, very basics. So there are a lot of things where we can describe everything from color to the aroma, to the taste of it, and to the tactile feeling, which is the mouthfeel. So olfactory, which is the aroma, the nose, the taste, and tactile. And if you look at the cupping form, you will see they are very Americanized because it's American things. And it's like how they use inches. Everything is like 1 inch. If, you know, inch is not centimeter, centimeter would divide it by 10 blocks, 10 is block. But this one is like 1/4 of an inch, you know, 2/4 of an, half an inch is 3/4 of an inch or something like that. That is why they use this form. It's easier for them. And when you want to score just make sure you score just 0.25 or 0.5 or 0.75. Don't be superhero or super tester where you can identify 0.25 plus 0.175 again เขาบอกว่าเอาอยู่ตรงกลางเอาอยู่ที่เส้นพอนะครับผม they just want you to be like เอาไหม right here นะครับ or here or here or here just make sure when you score on the line. Don't be the super taster like where you can find the between the line. That's crazy. You're gonna keep it. How do you know? Is your like super taster? Like, well, it just looks so cool when you do that. No, it make you look not cool. Okay. So if you want to be 8, just give it an 8, not like 8.125. No, I don't want an 8.125. I want an 8.25 or 8. That's it. Okay. So David, I know you're thinking about it. It's very tempting to put a 1.125. Don't do it. That is impossible. I would say that to the certain like between 8 and 8.25. That is just impossible. Then so specialty here, the keyword specialty start at very good. What does it mean? What does it mean? Well, the cupping form definitely start from 6. Why does it start from 6? It's good. Good coffee start from 6. But if all your coffee on the table and you go everything gets 6, you're not gonna get an 80 plus. You only get like 72 or something, 75. But if you get 7, everything starts from very good here. Okay. If you get 7, it approaching 80 plus. It need about 2 points. You got a 78 with very good. So most of the coffee, if you want to be specialty, it will be from 7.5 or 7.25. Most of the score. Okay. So I will share this technique already. So this is 7.5 on this table. Some people say good is good, very good is, you want to drink it again. Excellent. Oh, I want to drink it every day. And outstanding, I really want to drink it more. Some people say it that way. Okay. For me is, and for me and for my training, when we do a lecture and when we do Q grading for Arabica and Robusta, we explain it differently. We know that a coffee, if we score 7.5, to every attribute, that coffee will be specialty. Okay, everybody follow me? Oh, where's my screen? Okay, 1 second. Something wrong with the screen. Mr. Kamson, how many boxes do we have in the cupping form? You need to know because you want to have a panel. Because you want to have a panel, you need to know first how to use the form. Oh. How many boxes do we have in the form that can be scored?
Oh, 6 multiplied by 6.
6. Let's see. So this is something that we already use. Everybody follow นะครับค่อยดูตามไปนะทุกคน follow นะครับ This is how you gonna get 80 plus or not 80 plus, or how we will try to calibrate with each other next week with some of the coffee we have. Let's see. Here. So we have a lot of boxes, right? I will show you on our iPad later to see how it works. How do we score? But very simple. If you want coffee to be, if you think, I don't want to say if you want coffee, that's very subjective. เราไม่อยากจะบอกโอ้กาแฟตัวนี้ So my trainer say, when you drink the coffee, when you cup the coffee, and you find this coffee, yes, it will be. I think this is a specialty quality. You know, it's based on your experience too. I think this is a specialty quality. Okay, then is 7.5 and above. นะครับ But if this coffee is on the standard, then it will be 7.5 on the standard. But if this is, I don't think this is a specialty, it will be 7.5 and below. Okay, so we sort of, in the end, we use a 7.5 as a middle line to specialty or not specialty. That's one thing. นะครับผม That is one way to talk with each other. But when do I give 8 and 9? 8 and 9 would be like, wow, amazing flower, amazing enzymatic. Wow, very the wow like. But if you say wow or anything, you get a 9 or you get something below 7, a 9 or 7, you need to have an explanation why you give them a 9, why you give them a 6. You don't just, oh, I feel like a 9. No, you need to be able to describe why you give this a 9 on specific location, like, oh, a balance, a 9 on a balance. Like, why? You have to tell me. Wow. There is, every time you give a 9 to something, you need to have a story behind, a reason behind. นะครับ Don't just, I want a 9 for it. For example, but people will say like 7, 8 or 9, 7.5, 8 or 9 will become a very common in specialty coffee. And for me, definition of specialty has to be adjusted and calibrated with everyone. For example, if I drink coffee every day with like all this specialty coffee, when I score Thai coffee, I would score pretty low, which is not fair, right? So it is very important that when we go cupping somewhere and we want to score Thai coffee competition, the entire team need to be calibrated again. Okay, this is the quality of Thai coffee. We cannot use the standard that they use on COE coffee to calibrate us, because COE coffee is a different ranking, or like a specialty coffee somewhere else is a different ranking. So it's not fair to them, which is why on the lecture, it's also mentioned we need to consider the location and the origin of the coffee as well. So I will share you a technique on how to calculate the coffee and to see if they are specialty or not, okay? The definition that you would need to do when you do cupping, and everybody need to remember how to do it, and I would suggest everyone to do it. The reason I want to make two table of full cupping. Two table of full cupping, one table of 30 cups, another table of another 30 cup, because one set of sample is 5 cups. That's 6 sets. So 30 cups on this table, another 30 cups on another table. So it will be 12 sets. If there is 12 sets, we have 12 people or 10 people. Everybody get to do some breaking, pour, steep, crush, break, and skim. That is why I want everybody to be able to do this. After the class, I want you to be able to pour the coffee, pour the water into the coffee, and then steep. Steep is a definition mean ปล่อยให้มันแช่ไว้ just soak them in there for a little bit, and then there you will see a crust that's floating up, and that crust, after 3 or 4 minutes, you break it. To break it, there is a step to do it. You 1 push, 3 spin. Okay, 1 push and 3 spin according to the CQI protocol. But that is from my Kill lecture, the American training. But if the European training, they say 3 push. No, on when you're breaking, okay. And then skim is where you clean your ground coffee out. We will see that on hand again next week. So this is something that we score at foundation level. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just 5 attributes when we talk about foundation level. How's the aroma? How's the flavor? Acid, body, and aftertaste. Done. That's the foundation level. But that is because on the foundation level, sometimes we do not do a full cupping protocol. We do not have 5 cups. But then intermediate level, you guys need to be able to identify 5 cups. These 5 cups mean there is uniformity, as we already mentioned on the first day when I showed you what did I do on the calculator class. We have to talk about uniformity. Is this 5 cup the same? Then we have to talk about the clean cup. Is it clean? Then we talk about the sweetness. Then we score on the balance and the overall score. We also have to talk about the defects, such as taint. Is it taint? Is it fault? How many cups? How much should I deduct? This is something that we have to consider because if you deduct it too much, that coffee will be, let's say, a non-specialty, and maybe it's not fair. Maybe their score is pretty good. They got like 84, 86, and then after that you get deducted. So, and they become non-specialty suddenly. So we have to consider about the intensity of it. We have to calibrate on that intensity and the definition of defect as well. What would you deduct 2 points? What would you deduct 4 points? Because to deduct 4 points is a lot. It's very hard to come back from a -4. Okay. We'll see what's pretty bad about it. Okay. And here I want you to briefly go through on the videos what I talk about on each attribute นะครับอยากให้ทุกคนไปดูในวิดีโอที่เราได้อัดไว้ให้แล้วอ่ะมันจะเป็น section ตั้งแต่ fragrance ตั้งแต่ aroma ลงไปเรื่อยๆเพราะว่าถ้าเราคุยตรงนี้ผมอยากจะไปคุยในเรื่องของการทำ panel selection แล้วก็เสร็จตัวนี้จะไปคุยเรื่อง green coffee ในช่วงบ่ายกันนะครับผม Okay so a very deep into detail ทุกบรรทัดเลยที่ผมคุยไปจะอยู่ในวิดีโอแล้ว very deep into detail like what do I mean by fragrance, what do they mean by aroma, and when do we evaluate the fragrance and the aroma นะครับ so there is term on fragrance and aroma, then we talk about flavors. Fragrance and aroma, you will score both things. You will score fragrance first, then you score aroma, then you find somewhere in the middle ground where you want to answer, okay, when the fragrance is high, then the aroma is good. When it's hot, the aroma is cold. When it's cold, the aroma go down a little bit here and there. That is already recorded. So focus on that. It's a lot, very detailed. Then flavor. Flavor, we will talk about flavor when we will score flavor from hot to timid to cold. Okay, so hot, warm, and cool. You score 3 times. First time when you first sip, that's about 8 or 10 minutes, right? Second round, third round, and then you find the score, the balancing score of the 3, okay? So, for example, it can be pretty good when it's hot, but then when it's cool down, the good stuff is gone. It's possible, that possible as well. So, scoring each section is very important. We will talk about that on my lecture again, on the note again. And then the aftertaste. Check out the video on the aftertaste. Acidity also. As you can see, you will score the intensity of it as well. The intensity of it, there's also the intensity of high and low intensity, okay? You do not score just the score. You don't just say, okay, acidity 8, but low intensity. Why? It could be a low intensity of acidity with 8.5 score, but low intensity, but very complex. You need to write that down. It doesn't always has to be high intensity to get a high score. Sometimes you get high intensity, like high intensity there, but low quality acidity, like vinegar. So intensity is high, and that is pretty bad. So I would say 6.5. So do not confuse intensity with the quality. So it's quantity and quality. So it has to be both. It has to be both. So brightness when you like it, or sour when you don't like it. I already mentioned about it. And what we're looking for in acidity is at its best, the liveliness, the fresh fruit characters. Usually you get it from first slurp, like, is it good or bad? I mean, acidity you would find when you slurp it first. Boom, you find it. If you have to look for it, man, it's an okay acidity. That's why when we drink something, you find, this is salivating, this is juicy, น้ำลายสออยากกินอีกเหมือนน้ำผลไม้ That is a good acidity. Then you can mark on the intensity. But it's juicy, medium high, intensity is not so bad, it's good. The intensity, what do you mark on the intensity is, what's the intensity when it's hot? How the intensity when it's warm? What's the intensity when it cools down? Along with the acidity. The only way I can show you is to show you my score sheet. I will show you that later. Okay? Okay, I'll go through this fast. Okay, ไหมทุกคน Okay นะ Okay นะ If taught not, I will say everybody is, on behalf of everybody. Okay, I see him smile. Good. So now I can move on. Thank you. Okay, next one, acidity. This is when I said, when you score some coffee, you need to consider its origin. If on this table you are scoring Lao coffee, you do not score them harsh and compare them to Kenya or Ethiopia. When you score, you have to consider where it's come from, what's the coffee, what's the purpose as well. So let's look at this one, acidity. Relative to the expected flavor. Expecting flavor, okay? For example, Kenya is expecting to have a very high in acidity, right? Kenya expects to have a high in acidity, but then let's see if I order a Kenya and my table have 6 Kenya, and then I say, this is Kenya, 7. You know what I mean? Because I expect it to have a very high acidity, but if I find it's pretty low, it's under expectation. So the score pretty low, lower than 7.5 would be like 7 or 7.25 if it has some of the acidity at all. But if it was Sumatra, this is a Sumatra coffee, which is Sumatra expect to have a low in acidity, but then that acidity has the same as the previous Kenya that I just mentioned. Oh, I'm like, wow, this is Sumatra coffee and it's have that acidity. Whoa, unexpected. I would go from 7.5. It could be a 7.5. It could be an 8. Okay, it will be high. It will not push down. Same thing. If I put a Lao coffee on the table, wow, acidity, very juicy, very lively. This is unexpected. It's good. I could go for 8.25 or 8.5 because, wow, I did not expect this. That could be this good. So you see, this need to be calibrated on each session, okay? That the expecting or not expecting. Otherwise, people would go all over the places, which is why calibration is very important, because there is the sense of expectation come into play. When we do CQI lecture, when we do Q grading class, at the Q grading class, when they do cupping, they will say this cupping session is a natural process cupping from Ethiopia. They would say from Africa. They said African natural process session. That's it. So at least we have expectation. This is a coffee from Africa. So if we say Africa, okay, it's supposed to have high complexity in acidity and it's aromatic and fruity floral. We have that expectation, okay? That's one thing. Next, we say natural process. Therefore, I would expect it to be sweetness in it. With sweet and complexity of the acidity, it should be, fruity, very light coffee. So when they put that coffee on the table, 6 of them, when we score with that expectation of what we just mentioned, African natural process. I will look for liveliness and fruitiness and berryness and sweetness. If it's not there, yes, it will be 7.25 and below. If it's just right, it will be 7.25. If it's like Wow, berries, complexity. What is this? It would be 8, 8.5, or 9. Okay. Which is why each table before we do cupping, we need to declare what is this session about. But when I send you coffee, I send you 6 coffee. I did not declare what it is. It's just a coffee. So you can score just the way it is. Okay. But don't forget, the cupping form is designed for you guys to choose the green coffee quality, right? So if you know the green coffee quality, you want to know that expectation of your green quality on the table. That is why every time you score, you would know. I am choosing a green coffee that I will use from South America on this table. Okay, so you have an expectation of South American coffee or Central America coffee because you are choosing a coffee. Okay, that is why this one comes into play. It's not just acidity, it's everything too. Let's take a look. Same as in body, expectation. What's the body? Yesterday คุณคำสอน I think yes พี่คำพลเนาะที่ asked about body and viscosity. So body is the tactile feeling between the tongue, pretty much on your tongue and the roof of the mouth. But don't forget, it's come with expectation again. So like Sumatra is expecting to have a higher body in coffee. Why? Mexican, which is in Central America, expecting to have a lower body in the coffee. Or even Thai coffee, for Thai coffee, I expect to have a low body in the coffee. But both of them can pretty much score the same. Both Sumatra and Mexican can receive an equally high preference score. Sumatra could get a 7.5 or 8, or while Mexican also get an 8, even though Mexican get a lower in the body of the coffee, lower body in the coffee, just because this is a Mexican table and that is a Indonesian table. This is a South America table. So we calibrate and with that expectation as well. This is a big problem when we do competitions. Like barista competition or brewing competition, because the judges, once they hear the word, today I will be presenting you coffee from Central America, this variety. Suddenly that judge would have that expectations, right? They will have that crazy expectations. And when they drink it, when the barista said, on your first sip, you will find the aroma, you will find blah, 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 blah. That expectation is very dangerous for the judge. I mean, for the barista, because if you do not meet that expectation, your score would be pushed very low. Okay, if you say this coffee come from Panama and the variety is geisha and it's natural process, the judge would expect like, ooh, I had geisha before, it's very floral jasmine. In their head, their mind, it start to get biased. Suddenly they're biased on the coffee. So that's up to you how you want to cycle the judges to believe what is your coffee, and you can review at the end, blah, blah, blah. My technique, I went on stage, I talk about geisha coffee, and they're like, whoa, and they give pretty high score. And in the end, I tell, actually, I lied, it was Thai coffee. They cannot change the score anymore because they already mark it down. That is how powerful it is to buy as a judge, to inform the judge, and how powerful it is on one mind. If I present the coffee, hello judge, today I will present Thai coffee. That's already has a bias. Thai coffee, nothing good come from it, But if I do not tell them it's a Thai coffee, it's like blind cupping, blind tasting. So that is one way to make judges to evaluate score accordingly, into the direction that you wanted them to. So that expectation is also very important. Now the balance, okay? Balance is something that you want it to be harmonized. Basically, does it go together? Sometimes it doesn't have to go together, It could compromise and complement with each other or contrast. Something contrast would be something like bittersweet. I try a lot of chocolate. I have a lot of contrast with Robusta class, Q Robusta class. It's a lot of bittersweet chocolate, peanut butter, and jelly. I have something like that. The peanut butter is just very, very nutty, very berry on the same cup. It's nutty, berry, and it's remind me of peanut butter and jelly. And that is my taste note. And my Q grader, my trainer, suddenly understand because he's American. He's Rocky. Peanut butter jelly. I can associate and relate it to that. So that's easy. It's not easy. It's so weird. And then some of them is like Nutella chocolate. Okay, I can associate to that, which is bitter and sweet, right? So sometimes it's contrast. Sometimes it's complement. Sweet and sour, you get fruitiness. You get balance. Okay, the balance score is, yeah, like I said, everything is, if you think it's specialty, it's 7.5. If it's not, if below 7.5, you can score it lower. Lacking, as in it's only sweet, there is no acidity or nothing else to make it more interesting, then yeah, it could just be 7.25 or 7.5. But if it's overpowered, is too sour, yes, definitely go down. The score would be down. So it's really just enjoying the coffee and try to find the balance of the coffee. It's not easy at the first. It's not about like or don't like, okay? If you like it or you don't like it, that would be at the overall section. Overall section here, it's about you, personal. Oh, I like it, or I think it could be better, or I expect much higher, but then it's sort of flat and at the end is terrible. You could have give them like an 8.8, 8.25, 8.88, and by the time you get to personal espresso, you might give them a 7 because the aroma is good. I give them an 8.5. The acidity is amazing. The aftertaste is a little bit short, but then I find the body to be, a little bit too low, and the inconsistency between the cup. Okay, I just give them 7. It's not a good coffee. It's a good coffee. It's just not what I think should be a good coffee. But in the end, the score will tell, okay? Or it could be you give them a 7.5, 7, 7.2, 7, 7.25, 7.5 again. And by the time you get to overall, you get them an 8.5. It can be something like that too, because your reason is like, it's so easy to drink. I know it's only 7.25, but it's very basic. It's everyday coffee. I can drink it, nothing disturbing me. So overall, it's a very, very gray area. Some people say it's about you like or what you don't like, what you're expecting it. Does it meet your expectation based on the origin of the table that we talk about? If it's African natural processed coffee, that is met your expectation, that is one way. Or something personal espressos, like for me, it could be, I think I can drink it every day. I give them an 8.5. But if it's so good, but I don't think I can drink it every day, I would give them like a 7.5, lower or higher. That's really, really based on your experience. So because you need to build up your library on your sensory to get that information, so to score this coffee. Then there are a few things that these 5 box people like to ask about. Sweetness. All coffee has sweetness. All coffee has sweetness. Even though the coffee has defect, it still has sweetness. It will have sweetness. When we measure the coffee, when we measure TDS, the TDS deflectometer is actually measuring the Brix, which is the Brix is at the sugar content within the coffee. Therefore, your coffee has sweetness. Usually on this box, you would get a 10. There's usually nothing wrong with the coffee. You get a 10 anyway. Here, they said 2-point award for each cup displaying this attribute, a maximum score of 10. Okay. Some people ask, like, how do I mark it? Do I have to tick all 5 of them? It's like, no. You can take them if something wrong with it, or you could just, you have to talk. ทุกคนต้องคุยกันก่อนว่าเราจะเอายังไงกับไอ้5ช่องนี้ว่า if it's there just don't mark anything, or you want to mark if there is something wrong with it, justคุยกันก่อนนะครับผม otherwise people get confused, they just okay it's fine, so I tick everything and you get a 10 point นะครับผม there's a different way to do it. The opposite of the sweetness would be something very sour, very dry, and astringent and green. If you find it in your coffee, that means that cup will be probably got deducted on the uniformity as well. We'll see how it is. But usually all coffee has the sweetness. In general, they get a 10. During my session with Q Arabica and Q Robusta, not a case that we deduct it here at all. Even though we have a phenolic coffee, we mark them phenolic, not clean. One cup is not clean, and that same cup is not uniform, but we just give them sweetness. We do not deduct them, because even though it's phenolic, that phenolic flavor is actually masking the sweetness, but sweetness is there. Okay, the sweetness is always there. Then we talk about uniformity, which is consistency of flavor. With natural processed coffee, sometimes you get fruity, floral, fruity. It would be like that. It's like suddenly one cup, it just boom, floral, fruity, berries, very berries like. So it might get marked, that one cup, like to be berrier than the other cup, or fruitier than the other cup. That is possible with natural processed coffee. And wash process usually is about the same, not a lot of problem. Or if you do like crazy process like anaerobics, yes, it could be very berries and fruity. Uniformity, it's just my consistency of flavor. They want it to be the same. When I do competition, barista competition, brewing competition, I had to remove a lot of coffee that look different, like pea berries, which tend to be floral than the rest, taste better than the rest. I had to remove that, even though it tastes good. But if it tastes only good on that 2 cups, I get deduct 2 points or 4 points, which is not good because it's not uniform. Customer want a coffee that has consistent of flavor. The clients, when you send coffee, when you brew coffee, when you whatever espresso we make at our coffee shop, they want a consistency of flavor. They do not want this cup. Oh, the coffee today is amazing. Wow, it's so good. And then the next day, it's the same coffee, it tastes bad. Why? It's not as good as yesterday. They want it to be consistent. So this is important. This is why intermediate level, you need to practice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it the same? Done. Go to the next set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it the same? Done. Go to the next set. You have 6 sets to do it. Clean cup. The best definition of clean cup is at the bottom. Non-coffee. Any non-coffee like taste or aroma like burn, Tiber, medicinal, moldy, phenolics, and anything else that can attribute to not from coffee, okay? And it has very negative impression, bad. That would be marked as not clean cup. So you would mark one of the cups. Then I just mentioned earlier, well, fruitier, is that clean? Berrier, is that clean? There is a very gray area between funky You know, like very fermented coffee, it would be very berry like coffee. Some people call funky, right? People ask, does funky qualify as clean cup? Oh, not clean. Well, we have to think. Funky, which is super fermented, very fermented, right? On that just one cup. It's happened in natural processed coffee. Should I minus 2 points on the clean cup to them? Well, the point is that funkiness, that fermentedness of the coffee is still from the coffee. Even though it tastes very fermented, very funky, like very like rotten, or I don't know, but it's still from the coffee. But if it will be marked under non-uniform, it will be deduct because it's too berry on one cup. Yeah, you would deduct on that not uniform side, but you will keep it on the clean cup. You will not bother. So, but if you find phenolics, moldy, or papery, or chlorine, or something salty, or something weird on that one cup, which is not from coffee, keyword is not from coffee, then you would deduct on the clean cup. And if you deduct on the clean cup, it will definitely affect that cup on the uniformity because it's different from the rest. And then, but it will not affect sweetness. Okay, sweetness is still there. Sweetness is still there. So that is pretty much, we already talked about overall, and then we talk about defect. So defect, as mentioned, if you find something wrong in the clean section, is it not clean? And you say it's not from coffee, then we have to discuss how bad it is. The defects are negative, a poor flavor, how bad it is. Taint is something like, yeah, noticeable, not so bad, not overwhelmed, okay? It just taint just a little bit. But if it's something like terrible, like I cannot take it anymore, it's unpalatable, it's fault. I don't want to taste it again, it's fault. If it's there from hot to warm to cool, then it's pretty much a fault. Sometimes taint could be, it was there in hot and it's disappear when it's cold. Okay, maybe it's gone. Then maybe we even not market clean anymore. I mean, we just leave it, okay? But if it's there, aroma is still there, it just taint, it's okay. So fall is something you do not want to taste on your tongue. Taint is something that you taste it just very tiny bit, but you found it, usually found it aroma, okay? Aromatic only for taint. Fall, aroma and taste, or something is not in aroma. It's surprisingly, you would not find in the aroma. The aroma smell fine. But when you taste them, it's terrible. Okay, it's very bad. Then we have to score them and subtract from the final score that we added at the beginning before we create a final score at the end. And this final score is where a lot of people concerned. Is my coffee specialty? Is my coffee non-specialty? What is wrong with it? And then they will say, you know, interestingly, if they get 80 and higher, they get 80. Oh, okay, I'm happy. But if they get 79 something, they will start, can I see what's wrong with my coffee? Okay, that's the mindset of, can I see what is wrong with my coffee? Because I get 79. But if you give them 80, oh, okay, I'm happy. They don't even bother to look at how did they get 80? What to improve? Some people just forget that. I want people to look at the score and improve from the coffee, even though you get 80 or 82 or 84. Look how good you did and how better you can improve. Where is the area of improvement that you can do? Don't just, oh, my coffee is 80 plus. Okay, don't stop there. Just keep going. And then there is another person would be like, I got an 84.9. This person, how do I get 85? Okay. Why did I not get 85? That's another person who have a question. So you need to look into every section. Oh, okay. Oh, our aroma, you know, is could be higher if we pick the coffee this way, process the coffee this way. If we process it differently, our sweetness could be higher, just like 0.25 or 0.5 point, because from the score sheet, our sweetness is only 7.5, but everything else is like 8.5 or something like that. So you need to find the area of improvement on your coffee from the score sheet, which is why recording is very important. We want to record it, everything. And that is pretty much on the cupping. You guys want to take a break first and come back? But come back at 1. Would that be okay? 45 minutes? ได้ไหมครับ ได้ไหม Let me ask the ladies.
Okay.
Okay ไหมครับคุณวาน BB and Serena? We come back at 1. Okay.
I have a question. I have question, but I will do at 1 o'clock.
Okay, don't forget, nah. You can write it down about your questions so you don't forget. Otherwise, you come back. What was my question? I forgot. ครับผม We back. Okay. ได้ครับผม Let's take a break.
See you at 1.
At 1. ด้วย มองตาผมไว้นะ มองตาผมไว้
Okay. I have the question regarding the scoring ขอถามเป็นภาษาไทยเนาะมันจะชัดเจนเพราะว่าผ่านมาที่ผมไป
ครับ
คัพปิ้งนี่ส่วนมากผมจะแบบเฮดสกอร์แบบง่ายๆเนาะง่ายกว่านี้มากเลยและส่วนมากจะไม่ค่อยใส่ตัวเลขเนาะ
ใช่
และเวลามาดูฟอร์ม SCA นี่มีความสนใจอยู่สองประเด็นนะเพราะเวลาพูดถึงตัวเลขนะมันทำให้เจ็บหัวบางครั้งมันทำให้เจ็บหัวและตามเข้าใจนี่ในแบบฟอร์มนี่มันจะมีการให้aroma เนาะ flavor acidity body อันนี้จะเป็นสกอร์ที่เป็นตัวเลขเนาะและมันก็มีคำว่า overall เพราะว่า overall นี้ผมเข้าใจมันไม่ใช่เอาตัวเลขมาเฉลี่ยเนาะมันคือการให้ตามความเข้าใจของตามการประเมินโดยรวมของเราเพราะว่ากาแฟบางครั้งนี่มันจะมีรสชาติบางอย่างที่เด่นเนาะเห็นว่าตัวอย่างว่ามันจะมีอารมาดีมากๆแต่ว่า acidity น่าจะไม่ค่อยดีหรือว่า body มันไม่ค่อยเด่นอันนี้มันก็จะมีและเวลาเราให้ overall นี่เราจะให้โดยการประเมินรวมๆอันนี้ผมเข้าใจว่ามันไม่ได้เอาตัวเลขมาเฉลี่ยเนาะอันนั้น
ต้องเข้าใจถูก
และมันมีประเด็นบอกว่ามี uniformity clean cup แล้วก็ balance แล้วก็ sweetness นี้อันนี้ผมเข้าใจว่ามันก็ไม่ได้เอาตัวเลขมาเฉลี่ย
ครับ
และเวลามาออกมีคำว่า total score อันนี้จะเป็นเอาตัวเลขมาเฉลี่ยหรือว่าเป็นการประเมินจากการให้คะแนนโดยรวมหรือว่าเอาตัวเลขที่เราให้มานี้มารวมกันแล้วเฉลี่ยอันนั้นคือประเด็นหนึ่งเนาะอันที่สอง
total ก็คือ total score เอาทุกอย่างมารวมกัน
เอาทุกอย่างมารวมกัน
แล้วก็ลบด้วยถ้ามันมี defect หรือ fault หรือเป็น change ก็ต้องลบออกด้วย
อันนี้เคลียร์และต่อมาเพราะว่าในกรรมการนี้นะที่จริงผ่านมาเราก็ไม่มีกรรมการเยอะหรอกมี 4-5 คนนี้คือพูดถึงตัวเลขสถิติmathematic คือเราจดเอาตัวเลขของ total score นี้ของแต่ละคนมารวมกันและเฉลี่ยหรือว่าในทางสถิติเราว่าเอาตัวเลขที่เป็นค่านิยมเป็นโหมดเนาะไม่ใช่ average เป็นโหมดอันนี้จะเป็นตัวไหนจะเป็นตัวที่เรามาคุยกันแล้วเราบอกว่าโอเคเอาตัวเลขที่เราตกลงพร้อมกันคือไม่ใช่เอาของแต่ละคนมารวมกันแล้วเฉลี่ยใช่ไหม อันนี้เป็น
เวลาเราเอา final score ของ judge ใช่ไหม
ครับของ
จ
แต่
ริ
ละ
งๆแล้ว
ค
เวน ลา calibrate อ่ะมันจะมีตารางที่ซับซ้อนมากเลยที่จะสรุปเป็นคะแนนขึ้นมาคือจะเรียกว่าเฉลี่ยก็ได้แต่ว่ามันจะไม่ได้เฉลี่ยง่ายๆอย่างนั้นเนี่ยเพราะมันไม่ได้แค่เฉลี่ยแค่ช่องเดียวมันต้องเฉลี่ยทุกช่องมันจะไม่ได้เฉลี่ยคะแนนสุดท้ายนะครับมันต้องเฉลี่ยของทุกช่องด้วยมาดีดักใหม่ทุกช่องด้วยเดี๋ยวหาให้แป๊บนึง
คือไม่ได้เอาคะแนนมาแล้วมาคุยกันแล้วบอกว่าโอเคเราตกลงเอาอีกตัวเลขใหม่ไม่ใช่อย่างนั้นใช่ไหมอาจารย์
มันจะต้องเป็นตัวเลขที่อยู่ระหว่างสูงสุดกับมากสุดอยู่แล้วแต่ว่าบางครั้งมันจะไม่ใช่ตรงกลาง
ครับ
โอเคไหมครับมันจะสูงสุดกับมากสุดแหละแต่มันไม่ใช่ตรงกลาง cupping calculation trainer
คือในบทเรียนของผมนะที่เป็นคณะกรรมการการประมูลผมยกการประมูลเนาะคือการประมูลนี่เราไม่ได้เอาคะแนนของแต่ละผู้ประเมินนะมารวมกันและเฉลี่ยเราไม่เอาอย่างนั้นคือเราจะเอาคะแนนที่ของใครคนหนึ่งหรือว่าของที่เราตกลงกันใหม่ที่เป็นคะแนนที่เรียกว่าเรามีค่านิยมหรือว่าเราให้น้ำหนักไปตัวนั้นและก็
ไม่ดิเพราะว่าสมมติเราคัพปิ้งมาแล้วเมื่อกี้นี้เรื่องที่หนึ่งนะครับเรื่องที่หนึ่งที่พี่คำสอนถามไอ้คะแนนเวลาเรารวมคะแนนมันคือการรวมคะแนนของทุกช่องเอามารวมกันนะครับผมแล้วก็เป็น total score แต่ total score นี่คือมันจะมีอะไรที่เราโดนหักไปแล้วด้วยตรงนั้นหัก2คะแนนตรงนี้หักคะแนนนึงแล้วแต่ uniform ไม่มี clean ครับไม่ได้แล้วก็เจอ defect เจอ fault เจอ change ก็จะต้องโดนหักไปอีกหลังจากนั้นคะแนนทุกอย่างที่ได้บอกว่าได้7ได้8ได้7ได้8ตรงนั้นจะเอามารวมกันนะครับผมพอเรารวมกันนั่นคือ total score อันที่1ทีนี้แต่พอเรามีผู้ที่มาช่วยกันชิม7คน8คนเนี่ยมันก็จะมี total score ทั้งหมด7คนถูกปะทีนี้ total score ของทั้งหมด7คนมันจะเอาตัวไหนเป็นคะแนน final ใช่ไหมมันก็จะเป็นการคำนวณแบบแทบจะเป็น average แหละมันจะต้องอยู่ระหว่างสูงหรือระหว่างต่ำซึ่งโดยทั่วไปพวกนี้มันSCA และ CQA เขาจะมี table มาให้เราใช้งานได้เลยที่เช่นเนาะจะเป็น table แบบนี้ซึ่งก่อนอื่นเลยอย่างเช่นอย่างอื่นคุณต้อง calibrate ผ่านก่อนถ้าเกิด calibrate ผ่านเนี่ยคุณจะต้องไม่ cupping tolerance เนี่ยอย่าให้เกินมันจะมี point ที่เราดูว่าคุณ calibrate ผ่านหรือไม่ผ่านอย่างเช่นต่อ attribute อย่าให้เกิน 1.5 นั่นหมายถึงว่าถ้าเรา cupping กันแล้วคือประเด็นคือมันไม่ควรจะเอาคนที่คะแนนถ้ามันมีคนหนึ่งได้84คนหนึ่งได้78เนี่ยแปลว่าโต๊ะนี้หรือ panel นี้ไม่โอเคตั้งแต่แรกแล้วนะครับผมมันมีปัญหาตั้งแต่ calibration panel แล้วว่า panel มันมีคะแนนต่างกันเกินเพราะว่าเวลาเราทำ calibration ดีๆคะแนนจะไม่เกิน2ไม่เกิน 2.5 นะครับนั่นคือเวลา total score มาแล้วทุกคนจะเห็นตรงกัน82ก็จะอยู่แถวๆ82 84หรือไม่ก็ลงมาแค่80นะครับมันจะไม่หลุดออกไปถึง6แต้มนะครับผมอย่างแรกคือ total เนี่ยมันต้องอยู่ใน range 2.5 บวกลบนอกจากนั้นมันต้องไปเช็คคำว่า attribute อีก attribute คือของแต่ละคนก็ต้องเท่ากันหรือใกล้เคียงกันอย่างเช่นถ้าเกิดพี่ให้7อีกคนนึงก็ให้ได้ถึง 8.5 แต่มันจะไม่ใช่ว่าคนนึงให้7และคนนึงให้9อันนี้แปลว่าแต่ละ attribute ตรงนี้ก็ต่างกันมากเกิน 1.5 นะครับผมแปลว่ามันก็จะมีผลที่แปลว่า calibration set นี้หรือกรรมการชุดนี้มีการรับรู้ acidity ที่ต่างกันขนาดนั้นเลยเหรอคนนึงให้ acidity แค่7อีกคนนึงให้ acidity 8.5 หรือ9เลยเงี้ยอันนี้เป็นปัญหาของ calibration panel เป็นปัญหาของ panel แล้วนะครับผมนั่นแปลว่าก่อนที่ panel จะเริ่มงานกันpanel ต้องทำการ calibrate กันก่อนนะครับถ้าพี่จะเอาคนมาอย่างนั้นเลยมันแล้วแต่อารมณ์คนชอบเลยไงมันไม่ได้มีการ calibrate ขึ้นมาก่อนอันนี้จะเป็นปัญหาของการประเมินคะแนนนะครับเพราะฉะนั้นถ้าเกิดเรามาลองดูเนี่ยวิธีการคำนวณของเขาก็จะมี table มาให้ดูนะครับว่าแต่ละคนเนี่ยมีกี่คนอันนี้ใน level professional ซึ่งตรงนี้เราไม่ต้องไปยุ่งเราต้องมานั่งใส่สกอร์ของแต่ละคนนะครับผมว่าเขาอยู่ใน range ไหนคะแนนเป็นยังไงของเทรนเนอร์เป็นยังไงของนักเรียนเป็นยังไง sample มันจะมีโค้ด721918102เนี่ยทุกคนจะต้องใส่คะแนนตัวเทรนเนอร์ก็ต้องมานั่งสกอร์ทุกคะแนนว่าแต่ละคนเป็นยังไงอย่างคนเนี้ย acidity เขาสูงกว่าเทรนเนอร์ซึ่งเทรนเนอร์ของเราบอกว่า acidity ของเราให้แค่เท่าไหร่ ให้7แต่เขาได้ไป9จะสังเกตว่าตรงนี้คือ7ถูกป่ะนี่คือ7แต่ตัวเขาให้9เครื่องมันก็จะฟ้องขึ้นมาว่าคนเนี่ยต้องไปจับ calibrate ตัว train acidity ลงมานะครับผมเราต้อง calibrate แต่ละคนเข้าหาตรงกลางก่อนก็ได้ซึ่งสมมติตรงกลางในการฝึกนั่นคือเทรนเนอร์แต่ once เมื่อคุณเป็น Q grader หรือทุกคนเป็น grader หรือเป็น train tester กันทุกคนแล้วอ่ะณจุดนั้นอ่ะเราก็จะใช้ตัวกลางเลยนะครับผมพวกนี้ก็จะบอกเหมือนกันว่าตัวนี้ก็มีคะแนนที่ต่างจากเทรนเนอร์อยู่ซึ่งถ้าเกิดคะแนนต่างเนี่ยมันจะมีการหักคะแนนทุกคะแนนต่างมีการหักคะแนนมีอะไรก็แล้วแต่นะครับผมแล้วก็ดูว่าคุณผ่านหรือไม่ผ่านการ calibration เพราะฉะนั้นก่อนที่คุณจะเลือกเข้ามาได้คุณต้องผ่านการ calibration เข้ามาก่อนนะไม่งั้นถ้าเขาไม่ผ่านการ calibration เข้ามาแล้วต่างคนต่างเข้ามาต่างคนต่างประเมินอ่ะมันจะมีปัญหาตอนรวมคะแนนเพราะสมมุติคนรู้จักอีกคนเนี้ยรู้จักเจ้าของฟาร์มเนี่ยรู้จักเจ้าของฟาร์มนี้และรู้ว่าอ๋อเดี๋ยวพี่คำสอนก็เอาคะแนนมารวมกันแล้วเฉลี่ยหาร2หาร7ก็งั้นผมให้90เลย3คนเฉลี่ยยังไงก็ได้85ถูกปะอันนั้นคือปัญหาของ panel แล้วมันจะเกิดความ unfair เกิดความ bias แล้วเกิดการเขาเรียกว่าไม่ดีอะนะครับผมมันผิดนะครับก็เลยกลายเป็นว่าคุณต้อง calibrate ก่อนแล้วเมื่อคุณ calibrate คะแนนทุกคนมันจะใกล้ๆกันนะครับเดี๋ยวแปลเป็นภาษาอังกฤษให้ทุกคนฟังนะครับ so Mr. Kamson has a questions about what to do with the score. So basically all the score that you have on the form, it will be, added up together to make a total score. Whatever you give on a flavor, fragrance, aroma, flavor, aftertaste, acidity, body, uniformity, clean cut, and sweetness. And then balance and overall. Everything then will be added up to a total score right here, like 81, because everything is added up there. Then so that is what is being added up to make a total score. But if you find some defect, for example, this guy find a defect, their total score is also deducted that defect as well นะครับ ถ้าไม่มี defect สมมติตรงนี้ defect เป็น0ลบไป the score is 80นะครับถ้า defect เป็นโดนไป2แต้ม the score is deducted by 70ก็โดน deduct ออกไปนะครับซึ่งทั้งหมดเนี่ยมันจะมีการ compare to the trainer total score หรือ compare to the head judge นะครับผมแต่ละ table ก็จะมี head judge ซึ่งเป็นคนบอกว่า acidity ควรจะเป็นเท่านี้ทุกนี้นั่นควรจะเป็นเท่านี้ total score ควรจะเป็นเท่านี้ทุกคนต้องเหมือนกันก่อนโอเคเมื่อทุกคนเหมือนกันเวลามันมาเฉลี่ยมันจะต่างกันแค่นิดหน่อยมันจะเฉลี่ยน้อยมาก so what happened is when we adding up all this score together and also deduct whatever is a defect then you get this total score you get this total score and this total score usually when you do calibration and everybody would have a plus or minus 2 different on total score then we can say that this group is calibrated within plus or minus 2 that's how important it is but the next section that you need to be plus and minus is plus and minus 1.5 to each attribute for example if there is a red mark here that means you are not calibrated to the group. Your flavor, you're giving the flavor score a little bit higher than what the trainer gave. Like for example, if I say 7.5 and you say 9, then we have to discuss why did you give a 9? But in majority of the group may probably give like a 7.8 or 7.75 or give you an 8 or 8.5. You went up to all the way to 9, that means you are a little bit too high on that. So basically, first, the group need to be calibrated and then the score will be average. Everybody's score will be average at the end for that coffee. The problem is if you have a judge, you have a group of judges and this judge doesn't the judge are not calibrated and the judge know the farmers. What happens if the judge know the farmer is that they may try to raise the score because of the system. The judges that come are not calibrated and they know that in the end, the organizer will just average the score. Okay, if it's that simple, just average the score. That's mean some judges will try to raise the score higher by just give it an 88 or 92, and the score is totally out of the group, non-calibrated. Why the other person who tried to work so hard, oh, I think this is a 79 coffee. I think another judge says 78 coffee. Another judge says, oh, it's a 79 coffee. But these other two just give it 92 and 95. And then when they are average, it's become an 85 plus coffee. You see the problem? So that is a big problem when you have a non-calibrated judge come together and then you just suddenly just average the score. Okay. Averaging the score is correct, but you have to average the score of a calibrated groups. นะครับพี่คำสอน It's good. Okay. All right. มีคำถามเพิ่มไหมครับ
Yes, just one short question, if you allow.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't understand 100% the attribute of uniformity. Does that mean that we need to assess the uniformity within or between different samples or different coffees? Or we need to get
uniformity is on the same coffee with 5 cups. We will talk about cupping. Cupping, we do 5 cups, right?
Yeah.
When we do 5 cups, that 5 cup have to taste the same. Have to taste the same, has to feel the same, everything has to be the same within that 5 cup.
Of the same coffee.
Of the same coffee, of the same sample.
Okay, get it. Thank you.
Thank you. Because for example, when we look at this table here, you see that they are of the same sample. Okay, put this one. So when you can see that one sample of the uniformity is, for example, coffee 721. 721 would have 5 cups in front of you, coded as 721. 918 will have 5 cups in front of you, coded as 918. Okay, and 102 would have 5 cups in front of you as well. So all this will have score impact on your coffee, just like when we do cupping. There would be 5 cups like this. That 5 cup would relate to your uniformity. Would relate to, is there any different? Which cup has a defect? Which cup doesn't have defect? Which is one is clean and which one is, I don't know, clean, sweet. Sweetness has in every cup. Okay.
But what the difference? Is it in the roasting of the sample or somehow? Because if it does the same coffee, it's supposed to have the same characteristics, right?
And you are what you ask, why do they have to do 5 cups?
Yes.
Okay. What is specialty
the
coffee?
variable?
What is specialty? First thing you have to define what is specialty coffee. Specialty coffee is when we're grading coffee of 350 grams, right? With grading coffee and there is no category 1 defect, which we will talk later. That category 1 defect, there's no category 1 defect. There is some category 2 defect, which is not exceeds 5 point. Then okay, this 350 grams is a specialty coffee, graded green. But then we need to roast this coffee into sample where we can taste them. So we taste the roasted sample again. We roast 100 grams of we roast and we sample that 100 grams of that sampled roasted coffee should not have any Quaker. If there is a Quaker, then it's not a specialty coffee. If there is no Quaker, then okay. Therefore, 350 grams green, you are starting to qualify as specialty coffee. 1 step. Second step, you roast them, and then there is no defect. I mean, there is no Quaker. That is the second step. Okay. Then the third one, the coffee needs to be cupped and score higher than 80%. Okay. When we are cupping that coffee, we need to make sure that the coffee is good with good consistency throughout with that 100 grams. The coffee may look good, okay, on green, on roasted, but when they taste it, If it tastes the same 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, that means the coffee is really uniform. And sometimes the coffee is not uniform. That probably caused by, I don't know, some other hidden defect, which is why we need to cup all these 5 cups. That would use about 60 or 70 grams of coffee to cup, right? With 60 or 70 grams of coffee, yes, now we are checking 70% of that 100 grams of roasted coffee to make sure that in like overall of that coffee should be okay and should taste okay and should taste the same. Otherwise, maybe you only cup only 1 cup. If you only do 1 cupping, just that 1 cup, you are claiming that the coffee is good based on your cupping from 1 cup. Okay?
I understand. So
can you do it?
cups.
You can do it. I just don't believe it. I mean, it is like if Kim is the only person tasting your coffee and you say your coffee is 85% plus. Versus there is 5 people saying your coffee is 85% plus. You know what I mean? So we need more numbers, more.
So by multiplying by 5 the number of samples, we are trying to reach better representativity of the coffee lot, right?
Yes, we want to make sure what is being represented, because sometimes that 1 cup is terrible on the first cup. If you it was pretty bad, maybe you just found a defect on cup number 1, you know. And if that farmer is really unlucky because for some reason you only dose 12 grams of the coffee that has 1 little taint with just 1 little defect, and then suddenly you claim that their coffee is a 75 score because of that 1 little taint or defects. But if you cup 5 of them, okay, maybe that taint was just a -2. There are some good coffee. There is a lot of characteristic when I check now cup number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Okay, cup number 1 was just, slightly taint, just -2. Okay, you still have, the farmers still have that chance to represent that coffee another 4 times. So by cupping 5 times, that is like giving the farmer the chance to represent what is in their coffee. The possibility of, maybe it's, coffee is agriculture product. It's not meant to be perfect. It's supposed to be up and down. But that up and down should be within the range, and that defect should be within acceptable, if there is a defect or taint or something. That's why 5 cup is important.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. มีใครมีคำถามไหมครับ Any question? Anyone? So quickly going through the cupping protocol, okay? The cupping protocol is same as what we did. We sort of did that in foundation level, and we will do that in practical session next week. It will be very fast. So what we have to do is this, okay? When we cup in the activity, as you can see, the 10 or 4 will be used in professional level. So cupping next week, there will be no 10 or 4. So we will just focus on just uniformity. Clean should be clean and sweetness should be there, but just check the uniformity and check with the groups. Some people find it, some people don't find it. And if you're the only person who find it, then you can share to the groups, what is that different? What is the different taste that you find? What is the different aroma that make you mark not uniform on that 1 cup? So what we're doing, I will, everybody would do the cupping and I will reviewing the coffee later on at the end. This is the fun part. So cupping protocol is a standardized way to, it's a protocol that was created. What's the temperature, what's the room, what's the equipment, the grind size, the ratio of cupping, right? Everything has to be standard because you are evaluating a coffee that will be representing a farmer, which is their income, which is their family income for the kid, for the children, for the, for the house. So everything has to be on the standard just to make sure it's a fair game for everyone, everywhere. It has to be fair. As you can see, when you create a protocol, this protocol will help you communicate between seller and buyers, as already mentioned. Why we use flavor wheels according to SCA? Because we want to communicate the same information to the buyers. We don't want to create our own wheels that the buyer do not understand, because the buyer are calibrated to the, I don't know, the standard of SCA, or the flavor wheel of the SCA, or the aroma kit of the SCA. That's what they are calibrated to. Okay. If you make your own kit, your own aroma wheels, then you will have an issue with your buyers. Like, you need to try to communicate with them what it is that you are talking about. So all this cupping protocol will increase credibility. Like, how did you score this? Oh, I just drink and taste them. Well, is it according to the protocol? No, it's just an easy day. I just try and I scored an 82. Well, I don't think that can be reliable. So if you want to score something, you just make sure you do it properly. So it is create your credibility ความน่าเชื่อถือสร้างความน่าเชื่อถือนะครับผม and you can share the same thing with everyone, because it is the same protocol that we did together. When we did it together, and then you can talk, oh, I think the acidity is good on this one. Oh, I agree. But if you have a different protocol, or you did not follow the protocol, and this table using one water, another table using a different waters, I don't see any acidity in the coffee. On the other hand, the other guy who used another water, oh, the acidity is so good. And another table, I don't find any acidity, because you use a different protocol. That is a problem as well. So even just water is part of the protocol that you need to know, which you already know on it, okay? And it's a good understanding of the industry standard where you're gonna trade the coffee. Okay? So all this is also mentioned already. For example, another best practice that you can look at that refer back to our foundation level, where there is a protocol for roasting. There's a protocol for water qualities. There is a protocol on cupping, like grind size, color, TDS of the water, the temperatures. Here, cupping grind size. Everything has a protocol, just to make sure that if we want to repeat it, then we would try to repeat according to the protocol. At least when you have a protocol, it would help you, even though you do not have everything according to the protocol required, but at least it would be like as good as it can. For example, the water, TDS, blah, blah, blah. Since it's so hard to find a water according to, let's see here, for example, they ask for water. That's water. They say the hardest should be 100 to 175 ppm. Well, I say it's too complicated to, hey, student, go get a water that have 175 ppm. It's not gonna be easy to do that. So we just we adapt that protocol from, we make it the same at LCA and here to use just the water that has only 10 ppm นะครับผม which น้ำที่นั่นน่าจะเป็นหัวเสือ or something, or no, local water, which is like a RO water, reverse osmosis water, which is okay นะครับ we can adjust the protocol a little bit นะครับ a little bit, but we need to have a protocol in place. This is the cupping room. I think you guys are familiar with the cupping room already. You do not need a sample roaster in the cupping room. That is for roasting preparations. But we already sent a roasted coffee to you already, so that should be okay. So this is what you need in the cupping rooms. And this is a cupping protocol already mentioned in the foundation level. Here, when we want to perform a cuppings, we will break into session, into interval. Like when we're drinking wine, we see, smell, slurp, wait, let it breathe, slurp again. That's kind of way that we will be doing. For this, I borrowed from Coffee Mind. They sort of write it down similar to SCA anyway. First, you just evaluate the aroma at 3 minutes. Oh wait, sir. At first, you evaluate only the fragrance. The fragrance will be scored within 15 minutes after you grind the coffee. Once the water hit, you would have, during that time you wait, and you want to evaluate the wet aroma at 3 to 4 minutes. Make sure you see when I say 3 to 4 minutes. Here. Say 3 to 4 minutes. Why? Because sometimes you evaluate the aroma too early or too late. They want you to evaluate the aroma at 3 to 4 minutes. As you can see, smell the aroma and evaluate the wet aroma, like right there. Okay, evaluate the wet aroma. Yeah, wet aroma. And then again, by break and clean, and final score on the fragrance and aroma. Okay, you just focus, that's it. For fragrance and aroma, the very first box will be scored at the 3 to 4 minutes. That's it. Why? Because fragrance, you have 15 minutes to evaluate. You can give an 8 or you can give a 7.5. That's on fragrance. And once the water hit the coffee, they start to extract other organic compound, which you need for it to wait about 3 minutes for it to fully extract. If you evaluate on the first minute and you already give the score of the wet aroma at the first minute, it's not fully extracted. You might get something green, you might get something under or something sour because it haven't been fully extract the compound yet. The gas need to be, gone. The water need to slowly absorb it into the ground coffee, releasing the gas, extract out whatever volatile organic compounds. And that requires about 3 minutes. So you need 3 to 4 minutes for the aroma to fully develop. And then you score. Once you score the fragrance and the aroma, that's done. You do not come back to score the aroma again. Like after 8 minutes, you don't come back to evaluate the aroma again. That is the proper way to do it. But some people still, you can enjoy the aroma afterward. You can enjoy the aroma anyway. So we can see how it is. Just keep testing it and practice. And then afterward, we wait until 8 or 10 minutes. Why do you say 8 or 10? Why did I say 8 or 10 minutes? Because water is hot. But it's also about your cupping room. Sometimes your cupping room is cold, so 8 minutes is enough. Sometimes you're cupping outdoor, so you need to wait at least 10 minutes for it to cool down, right? Otherwise, if you follow the 8-minute protocol outdoor, your tongue will probably burn, okay? So you need to wait according to your environment too. That's why there is 8 or 10 minutes. That's why there is 10 to 12 minutes. That's why 18 to 20 minutes. It depends on your ambient environment, ambient temperature. So that's what we have to do. So 8 to 10 minutes, what you do, flavor and aftertaste. At 10 minutes, that means you walk back another round. As you can see, they have like 2 minutes per two attribute per round. So if you calculate the time, now you have 6 samples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You evaluate this cup, and then 2 minutes later or 3 minutes later, you come back here, you evaluate the acidity, you evaluate something else, like at the 10 minute. Therefore, you only have 2 minutes per round, 2 to 3 minutes per round. You need to be fast. 3 minutes per round, you have 6 samples. That means you have 30 seconds per sample ใช่ so when you are evaluating the 5 cups 1 2 3 4 5 you only have 30 seconds so per cups you have 6 seconds that's your job that's a calculator job slurp done slurp 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 stop score move to the next because that 30 seconds is up if you stand there and you do not move on and it take longer time the problem is the other sample get cools down that's the problem it's not fair for coffee number 5 to have to wait for you to evaluate coffee number 2 where you spend too much time for it that coffee number 5 already get cold coffee number 6 is get super cold so you score is pretty low I don't find any complexity in it because it's pretty much it's already cold already that's why it has to be fair 6 seconds per cup 30 seconds per sample move on 6 seconds 30 seconds down move on 30 seconds move on move that's how fast you have to be but that's require a lot of practice it take me like a minute or 2 at first but then I start to see the impact on the other sample because it get cool and get cooler get cold that is how sometimes my score at first is different from the other people who are fast my score is I don't find any complexity when they do they found a lot of complexity because they taste when it's still warm and hot but I take too much time on try to find what is in there okay so 2 minutes per round and then you come back again just keep going and just keep repeating and see what it isนะครับผม that's how you do it and each round you focus only certain attribute at a time for example first round you just already on the fragrance and aroma so the first stage you will have flavor and aftertaste then you go on with acidity body and balance the 3 attributes within the time and then later on you just evaluate because you might take sometimes 18 to 20 minutes to evaluate the 5 cups of uniformity clean and sweet why they have to wait so long to check out the uniformities I had an issue before at first I found a totally difference 1 2 3 4 5 cup number 2 is different but then after 10 minutes after 18 or 20 minutes it's all the same now it's just a matter of waiting for them to extract fully นะครับ once there is 20 minutes you get to 20 minutes point that means the coffee has fully extract to the point of equilibrium and then everything is the same you want to give the coffee the chance the time to slowly extract so at 20 minutes we come and check the 5 cup and see is it uniform is it clean is it sweet yes all cup is sweet and some defect will only show up after 20 minutes because some defects like I don't know it takes some time to extract some defect will disappear after 20 minutes so it's a good way it's one of the protocol that Coffee Mart created we're very similar to SCA anyway นะครับ so I think this is good okay let's see another way to do it this here first round we talk about first round here first round second round and third round okay so sorry didn't see it here first round second round third rounds the reason we have to wait for 8 minutes is because when you pour the water of 92 degrees Celsius that 92 degrees Celsius we need to wait a little bit for it to cool down for it to get cold right every 1 minute the coffee will get cooled the water temperature will be cooled about 2 degrees Celsius 2 per 1 minute that's why we wait about let's say 10 minutes that's 20 degrees Celsius coming down from 90 that's why it get down to 70 degrees Celsius at 70 degrees Celsius is the acceptable threshold for your tongue ลิ้นของเรารับอุณหภูมิได้แถวๆ70องศาเซลเซียส so you are safe but if you're not sure wait 2 more minutes it will go down to 65 degrees Celsius is a safe zone which is why when we practice to steam the milk here, we focus at 55 or 60 degrees Celsius only. So when you steam the milk, you can drink the cappuccino right away without having to wait. So 60 degrees Celsius. So first round, second round, third round, we already mentioned about it. The keyword here, overcup. Avoid fatigue. Yesterday we mentioned how our nose work. If you work too much, you get tired. Your nose needs to take a break. Same as your tongue, your palate fatigue. If you drink it too much, you overcup, your palate will not be able to take it anymore. So that is a problem. You should, take a break and come back and cup it again. That's why just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is enough, because one round you already intake about 30 cups, 30 slurp already. That is a lot of slurping, a lot of coffee, to identify. Sometimes in one sample, I have to double it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to check the uniformity. So it can always be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's maybe if you want to confirm and check, it could be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 as well. Just have to remember, one is the box, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the same box that they have under uniformity box. Cup 1 to 5, 5 to 1. Okay, focus, concentrate, do not get distracted, and always pour. You see how to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the number on the top here. Very important. When you pour the water, you have to pour in this sequence. ต้องรินน้ำตามลำดับ 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? When you pour the water, you have to pour in sequence. Okay? When you break, you have to break in sequence. When you evaluate the aroma and everything, you have to check the break, skim, everything in sequence. You do not want to pour sometime number 1, sometime number 5 first, sometime number 3 first, because when you cup in sequence of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you skip the sequence or get into the wrong sequence and you go from 5 to 1, you pour water from 5 to 1, and then Serena come in drinking, just go slurp on the first cup, boom, oh, it's too hot, right? Because cup number 1 was pour last. Instead of, hey, you're supposed to pour cup number 1 first. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. But then your tongue already get burned. So you pretty much not able to work anymore on that cupping sessions. Okay? That is very important when you follow the sequence and the numbers. Same as on the table. When you have 6 set, like when you have set 1, set 2, set 3, 4, 5, and 6. When we do it, usually we have 2 sides. This here, set number 1 and set number 4 will start at the same time. So timing, boop, pour. Then 1 go to 2, the 4 go to the 5, 5 start pouring, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go to the 6, and this go to the 3. So that is the sequence we do. We do a cross pouring. And that way, when you cup, it would just, because we have 6 people, 3 people will be on this side, start with number 1, 2, and 3. Another 3 people on that side will start with number 4, 5, and 6. Okay? The water temperature will be the same when we evaluate it. Where by the time we get here, the water will be the same. Okay? That is how we evaluate the coffee. But if you pour, if you are only one person and you're on the table, that's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because it takes you some time to evaluate sample 1, sample 2, sample 3. By the time you get sample 4, it's still okay. The water temperature is still okay. But you have a lot of people, you want to be fast. So otherwise, it takes too long for guys number 1 to evaluate 1, 2, 3. By the time you get to number 4, that coffee already get too cold. Okay. So that is what we're gonna do on cuppings. Lots of cupping. So we have 6 samples that I sent it to you. So I think this one we have to print it too. But if not printing, we just put the sample number เฉยๆก็ได้นะครับพี่คำสอน because sometimes it's just a template. We don't need, but we need to put in an M order, in an M shape. We need to put them in an M shape. And we need to pour and practice in an M shape order and 5 set นะครับ But template is sometimes the cup does not fit on the template. Sometimes the cup is larger. Okay, it's just larger. Do not have to put in the exact circle spot นะ It's just sample ตัวอย่างว่าเราต้องวาง Sometimes people find like a cup that fit in the circle. Like no, it doesn't have to. We just sample. Example.
I have one simple question. Huh?
Yes. You never have simple.
Now we are talking if we have 6 samples. That's
yes.
right.
Yes.
But in the real life, when we start doing with the farmer or whoever, we may start only with 2 or 3 samples to make sure that we have enough, time, or we are more, confidence. That's possible. Yeah.
Yes. No problem. But you are not evaluating the score or anything, right? You just want to cup.
Yes.
You have to understand.
For example, if we go to one village, for example, we know the area well, because when we do cupping, we focus more on the quality coffee. I would say that.
Yes.
If the one that's commodity grade, or that's maybe we don't have to waste the time on that. So maybe in one village, in one day we go there, we may find only 2 or 3 samples that that's road to do a sort of cupping. Yeah, that's the life. Okay.
So the technique to make sure the coffee is the same. So for example, if they have 3 samples, with that 3 sample, don't tell the cupper. I mean, if you are an organizer and you have judge coming to you, okay, do not tell them that you have only 3 samples. Just tell them you have 6 samples. And when they score it, Mr. Kamson will know that this coffee is coffee A on here, and coffee A there, and coffee B here, and coffee B there, and coffee C here, and coffee C there. Why do we do this? We want to make sure that when they score, is the taster can score well on that the taster is calibrated, because score A here and score A there should be very close to each other. Okay, so that's why this is 82 here, and then suddenly at A over there is 78. Therefore, this taster cannot be trusted. It's not calibrated. Okay, we do this a lot, just to see if the person that we are working with know that it's the same coffee. They don't know it's the same coffee. We just do it here, because people get. If you don't tell them, nobody know. But that is one way you can confirm your score. You can average the score. A 82. A over there is, I don't know, 83.5. Okay. So I can average the 2 score. Now you can average the coffee. But if 82 and 78, there's something wrong with him. And then coffee B is here and B is there. Okay, I think this one only 78 and 79. Okay, they are not specialty. So B is confirmed, not specialty. C is confirmed that, okay, 81 and 81, okay, good. So that is one way to confirm. Otherwise, if you put on the table and you tell them, let's cut A, B, and C. A is honey, B is washed, C is natural. They have a bias. And that bias would impact the final score. Just tell them you have 6 samples. Can you give me a score? I think it's easier สนุกกว่า You're not lying to them, you're just telling them different way to get the score you want. Otherwise, the bias will not keep the exact score, and that will misrepresent the coffee from the farmer. ครับมีใครมีคัพปิ้งกับ farmer บ้าง Anyone cupping with the farmer? Like พี่คำสอน Thank you.
thank you
ครับผม
good technique good technique
Yeah, that is one way you gather more data. The point is gather more data, and then you get to confirm the uniformity of that same coffee. 5 cups and 5 cups, it become 10 cups. You can confirm a lot more. So it's very important to get the data. Yeah. So 7-minute breaks before we get into setting up the sensory programs. Anybody need a break? I see Kim. Okay, 7-minute breaks. Okay, I set the timer. In case anybody gets some water, some coffee, and some tea. Yeah, I'll be right back. welcome back มา one second okay I'm back ทุกคนกลับมานะขอบคุณครับทุกคนบอกทุกคนไม่ได้ไปไหน sorry
Where's your coffee?
Oh, I went, and let me show you the other classroom on my side. I went to drink coffee, like right here. Ta-da! That is our classroom that we have brewing right now. So I went there to get my coffee. Yeah. Sensory, over extract, under extract. This one is a coffee that was roasted like 60 hectone color. And SCA, they say it should be in the center box. So I asked the student to brew the coffee, which in the recommendation of SCA, but it's fine a little bitter. So we recommended it to actually under extract the coffee, but control the body to be the same. So the challenge of brewing or extracting coffee is also important, how to control the flavor while changing the bodies. Or sometimes I'm happy with the body, but how to control the flavors. That is also another technique to do it. So say hi. Say hi. There. Hello. So I was drinking coffee. So good. Enjoy. Try what? So that is something that they are working on. This paper thing, so they need to extract here, extract there, move here, and move there with using the reflectometer to measure the extractions. Yes, thank you. Sorry for interruption.
Is another SCA block, huh? It's called brewing.
Yes, brewing. We are brewing, sensory, barista, roasting, green coffee.
Oh, brewing and barista is not the same, huh?
No, brewing using the machine and equipment and using pressurized extraction. Oh no, that's barista. For brewing is home brewing is like filter, V60, Clever, or something else. Yes. So that's สนุกนะครับ สนุกดี I like it. And now we have tea. I would like tea. Would you like some black tea or oolong tea? Tea is nice.
I saw in the other day, huh? You
Yes.
joined the tea session, huh? Specialty tea session.
Yeah, we do especially European Specialty Tea Association. The interesting thing about this association is a little bit advertised. They are actually the SCAE people. So they are the group of people that start SCA European back like long time ago. And once this one, the committee has grown up, SCA, the Europe grow up, the Americans grow up, they join together, become SCA. And this group become SCA that we are doing right now. And the group of SCAE start the tea association. Same protocol, same concept, everything is the same. We need a tea certifier, we need to train into level and everything else. Okay. So everything has to be done like accordingly. And just what we're doing right now. And it's very fun. And tea is easier, I think, with less equipment because there is no need for fancy equipment. Tea, just brewing tea. Okay. So that is another thing I like because doing tea is very important. Give me 1 second. I have to call.
Yeah. Kim and Kambon, huh? You are working in tea, huh?
Yes.
You may
we are
think
trying.
about having a sort of training in tea cupping.
We have a cupping soon about that on the 21st, that's the International Tea Day. And we will make a kind of initiation to tea cupping. We will advertise before that, so you can join.
You're welcome to join to initiate the tea specialty in Laos. Tea, coffees live together, right? Thought.
Yeah, please let us know when the date is.
21st of May.
First, yeah. World
Also
Tea Day.
21st.
International Tea Day.
So, do you have any tea? There's a lot of good tea in Laos. I am certain that there is a lot of good tea there.
Kambon
Lot of
and
good
Kim,
tea.
they are working on that.
Really?
Kambon.
Working?
Yeah.
What tea are they making?
For now,
Are you
mostly
guys-
green and black, some white tea as well, and some matcha. You know matcha?
Not yet. Maybe. Are you guys coming for Anuka Thai Fest this month in Thailand?
No, we'll organize a small event in Laos.
Okay. And yeah, we are planning to host our tea event here at the academy every now and then, just to promote tea. Our partnership next one is with Myanmar, so we are doing training with Burma, Myanmar on tea, and so maybe later on with coffee. But anyway, let's talk about setting up the sensory program quickly because now it's 2 p.m. We haven't get into green coffee yet, but we will try as much as we can. So sensory program, very simple. You are choosing people to work with you. So it is depend on the objective of that class, right? It is depend on what you want of your, when they cupping the coffee. If you want to score, that means you need to calibrate. But if you want to confirm if there is a difference in your coffee or not, then maybe you need to do some of the required testing, the basic taste, sweet, sour, salty, the level of the intensity of that. That is just how you choose the people back into your sensory program. So let's take a look quickly what it is. For example, one is a group that the purpose is to taste and evaluate the coffee based on the standard procedure. Based on the standard procedure. Say again, based on the standard procedure. Okay. So you need to have a standard procedure before you hey, just continue recruiting people. You can't just recruit everybody to make your evaluations because you need to have a protocol. You need to evolve beside the protocol and procedure. How do I recruit these people? Okay, that is important. Then we already talked about it. But in the end, as I mentioned, if there is only you in a company to do it, that is fine. You just need to find a way to treat yourself, not too biased when you do something. But for example, you need to code it and then you need to find someone to help you arrange the coffee. You need to switch around the coffee just to make sure that you do not know what sample you are tasting. So panel is good, but if you only have one person, it's okay too. They will say that later on. Here, we already mentioned the interpretation of the result is not the panel job. It is outside the panel task. That means if Mr. Kamson go to the farm and start cupping the coffee, if you are the one who cup the coffee, you should not be the one who evaluate. You should not be the one to interpret the coffee because you might have a bias. Okay. You might say, oh, okay, I evaluate this coffee 82. I think everybody should do that more. No, it should be the organizer of the event, or it should be the person who initiate the cupping session. For example, it could be Todd. Todd initiate the cupping session, but it would be best if Todd doesn't cup. Okay. For example, I initiate Robusta cupping back in 2019. And I do not cup. If I cup, I might get biased to certain people that I know. That's one person. That's one problem. Another, I might get biased into certain flavors that was found on that certain coffee. Okay, that is also a bias. Then what do I do then? Okay, the panel task is just evaluate the coffee. Tell me if this 82, if that's 78, if that's, I don't know, 95, or is this 86? Then Todd would tell, okay, thank you for your job. And here is the score I gave to Todd. Todd would say, okay. Todd would look and evaluate the coffee according his need. Maybe he's just looking for a clean coffee that is 78, which is good money, not so expensive, right? That is important. It's not always say that, oh, I want coffee to be 82, because when it hit 80, the price go up. Maybe you just want a coffee that is clean enough, 78 or 79, that will help you work in your industry. So that is the job of someone else to do it, the organizer or the initiator of the cupping. I see a lot of problem when cupping, and then the cuppers start to have a lot of opinion what the farmer should do. They can have opinions, but they do not have the final decision to make, okay? Because otherwise, if they start to have opinions to Todd, hey Todd, this coffee number 82 is good, you should use it, you know? But Todd is the boss. Todd needs to balance his budget. Todd needs to make the blend, right? I don't think we need 82, but the cupper keep insisting that is sometimes they don't understand how, because when we run a business, there is more to than just score. Okay, there is more to than just score of the coffee. There is a lot more we have to consider. Maybe Todd was just looking which coffee has the most body. Maybe you're just looking for a coffee that has the most acidity. Maybe it's very high on acidity, but low in everything else. Maybe that is what you're looking for. Okay, but there is no need to tell. There is no need for us to tell the panel. Our panel, the job is to evaluate, and that is that job. So just like this one, that job is to cup and evaluate and just tell what it is. On the left one is very, very small group, like a very specific to sensory professional. Not like SCA professional job, but like sensory professional in food science. They use a small room like that. On the right, you will see a COE cupping back in 2003, 2004. And they're cupping in Guatemala, El Salvador, somewhere. But the point is that job is do it differently. And you see how they cup? It's only 2. So that is their cupping protocol, okay? Just 2 big cups, very big cups. They may have a different protocols, okay? They have a big bowls and everything else, okay? So the protocol change according to places and according to the organizer as well. One is better than none. That's the key. If you are alone, that's fine. It's okay. But if you have more that would help you, well, become less biased, become more objective, you know, and more is more data. More data is more statistic, okay? And that is the key. You just want the numbers. That is why sometimes you only have 3 samples of coffee, but you double them up just to make it more data, to get more significant result. Or even maybe you just have 2 coffees, A, B, B, A, B, B, put on the table 2 coffee. It's fine too. We can do that as well. So, but there are different types of panel. For example, when we do Q grading class, that's a Q grader. So that would be like product expert. We are expert in coffee. So we are product expert. But as mentioned, by the time next week, you guys will be a trained tester. You'll be trained how to test the coffee. So that is one level. And another level is consumer, which is your local customer, whether drinking coffee or the farmer, or they can be consumer as well, okay? They are not mixed within a panel. That means it could be, as P. Kamson mentioned, this guy is a Q grader, that guy is non-Q grader. Put them on the same panel. And the Q grader says 78, and the non-taster and everybody else say, I don't know, wow, 85. When you mix this group of people together, you would have a problem with scoring. Okay, your score would be different. Okay? Your score would be very different, and would have a problem when you evaluate. The evaluator would have a problem. Yeah. This is example already mentioned, I think, back in the foundation level. In this research, they do a triangulation. We focus a lot on triangulation because that is what we're gonna use a lot in your life with coffee. When you have a new blend, you do triangulation. New coffee with bean, triangulation will help. I don't know, new roasting, triangulations. Everything with triangulation will help. That's why we talk about alpha value, beta value, roast, and significant p-value. A lot of that will help you. Here, for the coffee community, they have a problem. They have a saying and they have a belief that different grinders, different type of grinders, birds have different sensory and have different taste. So they did a triangulation of first group, coffee A and coffee B. Coffee A grind with flat burr, coffee B grinded with what you call flat burr and conical burr, flat burr and conical burrs, because at that time the Nordic barista, Norwegian, they are very they really believe that the coffee is, when you grind from different bird type, it's had big impact on flavors. So what SCA has to do is to prove that is it true, or no, they not prove it. They try to prove if they can reject or they fail to reject that hypothesis. Okay. So what they do is they do a triangulation based on that two coffee. Okay. Oh no, based on that one coffee from different grinders. So that one coffee from different grinders, what they find is, okay, first group use just the basic people, canteen, 50 people, and they try to find a solution, but they only got like 20 something correct response, which is not enough p-value. So you guys can look on this one at the red research. Let me see. Grinding. So if you want to set something triangulation, refer to this book. They have step protocol and procedure and how to proceed, even though how you want to confirm like your hypothesis. This is a good way to do it. Let me see. First, you need to extract both coffee to be the same body and the same extraction percentage to confirm that both coffee had the same sensory on texture, whereas the body is the same. Have sensory extraction where your extraction is remain within 20 to 21% extraction. And then what else? Here. With that, therefore, coffee had the same body and coffee had the same, supposed to have the same taste. And let's do a triangulation and see if people can do it. Here. Out of that 50, only 9 consumers were able to pick the odd sample out. That means the p-value of 0.0001 is not enough because there is 50 people, right? So if you go back to the 50 people, how many significant we require? Go back to the 50. So we're 164. Here, triangulations. Triangulation for 50 people with p-value of 0.01, you are required to have at least 30 correct response. Okay, 30 correct response to make to say something about the coffee. To say that it is to reject the hypothesis. But right now, they are failed to reject the hypothesis. Okay, the hypothesis that the SCA created that, hey, you know, flat burr, conical burr, there is no difference. Okay, there is no difference. That's a hypothesis. So let me do triangulation. If there is a difference, people would be able to pick it up. You know, they would be able to find the right odd cups. Okay. So from that 9 consumer only, that's all they are able to pick. They do it again with 164 people. But now, first it was consumer. Now it's the train tester, okay? Because these 164 people going to the coffee fest in Nice, in France, and these 164 people taste the same coffee that was extracting to the same 1.43% extraction, 43 TDS and 21% extractions with 2 types of coffee burr. One is conical burr, one is flat burr. And the same hypothesis is there's no difference. It doesn't matter which coffee burr you grind it from, you will not find a difference. And the point is, these two coffee, when you extraction, when you extract it out, is supposed to have the same body and same extraction. Out of that 164 people, let me see, what is it? With the p-value, they say only 48% out of 164 were able to cut the right odd cup. Okay, it's 48 out of 164. So therefore, coffee professional could actually not taste the difference between flat and conical burr, because the people that come in that the testing panel that we have is a consumer panel. The train tester panel, which is coffee professional. You guys are coffee professional, okay? So before we can say something about this is different than that, it would be good if you have a triangulation to confirm it. It would be good to have a triangulation with enough data to confirm it. Okay. For this one, they said 48 out of 164. Let's see this table. 164, 162. The minimum required to make it, the p-value of 40 is at least 56. There was only 48 correct response from 164 people. So they failed to reject the hypothesis, and that hypothesis is there is no difference. Okay. Very simple. But again, for sensory, they did not stop there. They also continue with another, they use this data to proceed to another cupping to the product expert. They give to the judge, 6 judges repeat it twice to make it 12, to make it similar to 12 judges, okay? So instead of using 12 judges of 12 different people, you just use 6 judges and do it twice. So it equally 12. Just to provide descriptive to see what is the difference between this coffee. Yes, the coffee has a different taste when you grind it with different machine, but there is no direct or relation that flat burr will always be this flavor, or conical burr will always be this flavor. The coffee from flat and conical burrs can and also have the same taste when they do the research. And then they do it again just to confirm. Now provide descriptive number 2, second level, second time. 6 judges do it 3 times. 3 times 6 judges, that means 18 times. With that 18 times, each time they cup 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is a lot of cupping just to confirm and describe the flavor again. Then they do it again, triangulation again in Oslo, where they have this myth, where they have this belief that, hey, conical burr tastes better than flat burr. Hey, flat burr tastes, brighter than conical burr. That's kind of myth. That's kind of belief. So the SCA just organized this at Nordics, Barista Coffee. And then they found NBC here in Oslo. With 147 people, they do everything the same. One is conical burr, one is flat burrs. And with the same extraction, again, same coffee, same extraction. And what they find is no difference. Let me show you the data. Here. Only 20 people out of 147. That's it. Only 20 people were able to find the right odds cup. Like, this one is different. I think it's pretty much lucky guess or something. You know, if you're, don't forget, out of 147 people, each person has the ability to answer 6 correct response. That means that's for 147 people times 6 is like, I don't know, 600, 800, or 900, almost 900 possible correct response, but they were only to get 20. Okay, and that is not enough to reject the hypothesis that SCA that there is no difference. If they can, but they cannot reject it. So that is one way to say something with a significant data to prove to the community that after all of this research, there is no difference on the machine. And the grinder is just different on its own. You just buy this grinder for the performance. You just buy that grinder because it looked like. You just buy this grinder, blah, blah, blah. Okay? There should be no difference in any grinders. This is what this research is talking about. So you see how hard it is for us to actually go out and say something, you know, like if Todd say this machine is better than that machine, that is only one person's opinion. Okay. So, or if Kim or Mr. Sankam say this coffee test and this equipment would test is better than the other equipments, then we have to test them and see why. The only focus I have when I try to do everything here is based on performance. How fast is it? How durable it is? How long will it last? You know, that is the more important thing in business, the performance. The taste is our job to make it taste good. Okay, we can use extraction, you know, TDS, extraction method, the water time extraction to create the flavor that we want. Okay, that is another thing. Okay. So that is an example that there is an entire video on this, like an hour video on this research that I already shared to you guys. Okay. Another research that they do on survey is on the European extraction preference. And usually as we mentioned that in SCA, they say to extract coffee within 18 to 22% extraction. That is in the book. That was based on 60 years ago research. And they want to confirm that if this is still valid today. Yes, Todd. I just saw it. Todd has a raised hand.
Sorry, it might be a dumb question, so forgive me if so. But when doing the triangulation,
yeah,
is the cupper required to pick the cup which they think is different, or is it also a valid answer to say I cannot tell the difference?
They are required to answer something from the 3 cups.
So the answer could be there's no difference.
No. They are required to pick the cup that they think is different. They are required to pick something. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Because you have a chance to answer 6 of this, right? Right? There is a chance for you to answer 6 times. Your job is, I think the center cup is different. You just mark center cup. Oh, I think the left, let's say this set. I think because you don't know if it's AAB, you just think the left cup is different. You just mark the left cup. But then actually the right cup is different. Okay? When they collect the answer. And they usually do not tell you AAB like that. They usually random code, like how we random the code number to you guys. show you roasting. Oh. Learner. Yeah, like this one. In our roasting sessions. Yeah. We would give you a random code and you need to tell us which one is different, which you don't know which one it is. So all the student will answer something, 324, some student will 449, some people will do something, and that is how we collect the data นะครับ without bias. Okay. And มีคำถามเพิ่มไหมครับ Let me see on the table. It would look like that. Yeah. It would be something like this on the triangulations. นะครับ Everything will be coded. Everything will be randomized. The number. Everything will have different numbers. I think Todd just disconnect.
Yeah, I also have a question on the numbering things. That the 3-digit number is just randomized, right? You put randomized. Okay.
Yes. Random ไหม Random ครับ Random ไหม Random ครับ
Randomized.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have to be randoms because if you do not randoms them, the problem is you have the carryover effect and you create expectation. If I say suddenly I put this number 777 on the left. If I say 222 on the right, and then in the middle it's 803. Hey, there is a repeated number and non-repeated number. Hey, maybe the center cup is different. That's why we need to randomize the numbers. Everything has to be randomized. Okay, Todd, welcome back. And this is the when we do triangulations, it looked like that.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, my internet unstable.
Okay, no problem. Thank you for coming back. And so this is the what you call randomized number on each set of triangulations. There is a lot of randomized number that they created, and when you do it yourself, you can randomize the number too. Just like when I see car accident, I see the 3 numbers. I just buy randomly 20 baht บน 20 baht ล่าง We say lottery. Okay, so that is a sort of randomized number too. Randomized number is every day, so you can use from the lottery page and just use the last 3-digit numbers. That will help you a randomized number as well, a good source of randomized numbers. So that is an example of triangulations that is done in the business. Same as this one. For this one, they do not do the triangulation, but they do collect a lot of data, and how they arrange, how they gather the data is very important. Take a look on reference. On this video, just go take a look. It takes about an hour, 40 minutes, not that much. On the belief, the hypothesis that, okay, people are still okay with 18 to 22% extraction or not. And then they start to designing the experiment is very important. How you design it, how you collect the data is very fun. Okay. For example, like this one, they just want to make sure that people taste the same coffee at the same intensity. Okay. So that means all coffee will be extracted and have the same body of 1.33. Okay. But the extraction is different. One of them is here at 16%, the other one is there. Different percent of extraction. With different percent of extraction, it will produce a different taste of flavor in coffee. Therefore, they can confirm that if the people prefer which cup, and this is one of the example that you can create your own protocol on water, screening, brewer, the setup, and everything else, the methodology, how you do it, and the cupping arrangement, the coding sample again, and how they have to test in orders, and how you create this products. You like or dislike, what is the code? Everything needs to be created before you start sample, before you start recruiting people. You need to design your protocol, you need to design your experiment before gathering the data. And the reason is because they want to repeat this everywhere else. For example, they repeat it in Dublin, Ireland, and then they repeat it again in Netherlands, and they repeat it again in Germany, then they repeat it again in Milan, Italy. And then they compare the result, and just to make sure that, to confirm the findings. Before we can say something about it, we don't want to just use our personal experience or the local experience and just say, okay, people don't drink 18 to 22% anymore. So the survey will help you confirm or reject your hypothesis, okay? And this one is confirmed that most people like 22% extraction coffee. Sometime in SCA, they mentioned that anything above 22% extraction coffee will be very bitter. Anything under 18% extraction will be very sour. And anything over or less than 18 or over 22 is not something people want. Interestingly, from the survey, it said differently, okay? But then we have to understand that the table or the design or the number that was created in 1960, 1950, it was done with the dark roast coffee, medium dark roast coffee. So the extraction, about 20% extraction is okay with dark roast. It's not gonna be too bitter, it's not gonna be too sour. But today, in today's society, even though with this research that we are talking about right here, they're using a medium dark roast coffee. A medium dark roast coffee, if you a little bit over extract coffee, it will help. It will make your coffee taste not too sour, okay? But for us, like right here in our coffee shop that I just showed you the table earlier where the student is doing, our very light roasted coffee, we extract to 24% extractions, which is make it less sour and make it more balanced. So let's see here. For example, from the survey, from that 4 countries, first of all, it say European preference, not Asian preference, okay? Well, you have to understand this survey is based on the European concept. Why? Because we are sending coffee to Europe anyway. So another thing here, what they say is, this red line is the mean line where it's 0. If you see something on the top and on the bottom is how you gather the data. This the maximum that people give, where you like, and the minimum that people okay. If you do 16% extraction, there is a chance that people hate it. If you do 18% extraction, there is absolutely people don't like it. But if you do 20% extraction with the coffee that they provide, people will be like, some might like it, some might don't like it. So this is a risk in your business if you try to produce coffee, okay? But if you do 22% extraction, people seem to be okay, generally, based on the data that you collect. People seem to be okay from Europe. And 24% extraction, like right here, majority of people still okay. So with your understanding of this, it will help. I interpret this information differently. Okay, this is how I use this information. สิ่งที่ผมได้มาจากงานวิจัยนี้ for example, what I learned from this research is that most of people don't like sour coffee. Okay, because anything under extraction, tend to be very sour. Anything over extraction tend to be bitter. But based on this research, okay, bitterness is okay in coffee. Okay. So 20% extraction where it still produce some uncertainty of a little bit, a hint of sourness, maybe they don't like it. But if you do 22 and 24% extraction in coffee, people are okay with it. Here we tend to over extract our coffee to reduce the acidity. We do not present our acidity very high, even though it's Ethiopia coffee. We still over extract the coffee to make sure that our coffee is not going to be too sour. That is what I take it from here. And what else I learned from it? Before I used to order a lot of African coffee or coffee that has high acidity or high notes on acidity coffee. But then I changed. After this research, I stopped the coffee that based on chocolate, more chocolate, more Brazilian, more Colombia, more Guatemala, and less of African coffee, less Ethiopia, less Kenyan, everything else. Just because of this research. Okay. So you can try to do similar research in Lao on some of the Lao Coffee Fest and see what is the direction of your consumer. But you need to design your survey carefully, right? You need to design your survey carefully so you can get the data that you want. And so refer to this book and see how they do the survey and repeat it. So if you've done it according to what SCA done, then therefore you have a pretty significant, and if it's confirmed with the euro, okay? For example, maybe you done it in Vientiane once and you do it again in Champasak twice again, right? And then I do in Bangkok once, I do one in Chiang Mai. Then we can compare our information together and see, then we will have an Asian preference extractions. We make with Southeast Asian preference extraction. It might be the same is how the European drink it. They like something 20, 22, 24, or it may be totally different. The key important thing is when you do this, do not just do it at a certain place where you only find a group of people that drink specialty coffee. Otherwise, your pool, your data pool is come from very small group of people. You want your data pool to come from everywhere. University, supermarket, in the mall, at their, I don't know, LCA, anywhere else. Okay. You want your data to come from everywhere, not just we don't want this small pool data table to represent the entire country. That's why we want to do it, one in Vientiane, one in Champasak, something like this. At least we have two pool of table to do it. Wow. So this is how Sensory would help you is by creating and designing all of this to answer certain questions that you might have in your business, in your community, in the local coffee culture, in the direction of what coffee you want to buy more, in the direction of what roast level should I do in my roastery. I roast my coffee darker because of this survey. I blend my coffee into like a less acidity profile because of this survey. So a lot of survey help, okay? And people tend to be okay. Like I like to read survey, it's very fun. But I haven't get a chance to repeat the survey. It would be nice if I get a chance to do it here, but we'll see how it is. So okay. So a lot of this stuff we already mentioned that we have to do. Venue requirements. Venue requirement, I think we have been discussed and Mr. Kamson already do a lot of venue requirement with everybody. Okay. So we have everything, I'm sure. If we don't have it this week, we will have it next week. Don't worry about it. People will help, 10 people. Everybody will support each other. We will get things done. But the point is, the important thing of when you create a protocol or design your venue requirement is important, so that when I try to repeat it somewhere else, I know what at least the minimum I need. Sometimes like Mr. comes on, do I need a coffee roaster? I didn't even know there is a coffee roaster in the venue requirement, but actually you would need it. But this is the requirement that we already do it for you and just send it to you, right? Like venue, there is different type of venue. A venue where you just do public cupping, and a venue where you create the coffee, and a venue where you're just creating the coffee without roasting the coffee. So there is different kind of venue. But this one for your sensory analysis. So it depends on your venue, and it depends on your goal, on your facility as well. So venue requirements, I will skip that. Then best practice. The best practice, if you want to do it every day, here, repeat. The more you repeat, the more accurate it gets, okay? Even though with the test result or even though with yourself to practice, that's why you can repeat sample of coffee. And if you have people that is not able to take a lot of coffee, you just tell them do not drink too much, drink a lot of waters, and just leave the panel for different positions. Sometimes they are very good taster. They made it through your final rounds, but then by the time you get to the final round, they are exhausted with the coffee, and they get,หัวใจเต้นสั่นนอนไม่หลับ, too much coffee. Then just don't force them to do the work. The most important thing in coffee and scoring the coffee is the person who's scoring the coffee want to be part of that panel. Very important. You don't want to force people into scoring the coffee if they don't feel like it. Okay, they want to be part of it. Otherwise, your sensory evaluation would be stressful. Or even for the panel to come, they will get stressful, and they just get annoyed, get agitated. They just get the score done and just submit the paper just to get it done with. Okay, so you don't want that group of people. Cupping, one thing we request, remain silent. The reason is because if you do not remain silent, and your people what happened? The people will get a bias on it. You cup, and then Todd here, or Kim here, Mr. Sang come here. Everyone, what did you hear about Mr. Kamson? Defect. Okay. You can trick a lot of people with just sound. Okay. So remain silent. Don't point, hey, try this cup. Oh, try that cup. Okay, don't do that. Otherwise, you get bias, and that bias will result you in a very and not a good score. Okay, not a very good score on that. Good. So that was just selecting the panel. มีใครมีคำถามอะไรไหม before we go into this session now? Today we may have to get to 5 o'clock according to plan. So
I have very just a question for clarification.
ได้
If I do understand correctly, when we do triangulation, the purpose of doing triangulation is for selection of the panel.
ก็ได้
Or is
also
it can be used for the other purpose as well.
It can be used for everything. It can be used for everything. You can set the number that at least if you want to work with us, you need to be able to identify this basic, like your triangulation could be sweet, less sweet. That can be a triangulation too. It doesn't have to be with coffee. You could have some watermelon juice number 1, watermelon juice number 2, and watermelon juice number 1. just to make sure that you change your watermelon juice and see if your client is able to pick it out. That is a triangulation too. Okay. It doesn't have to do just coffee. You can do triangulation with everything in your company. Changing the milk. When we do coffee in a coffee shop, we have to change the milk. We have organic milk and we have another brand that coming in and, hey, I want to change your milk and I believe that our milk is better and there is no difference. Okay, that is what they say. So what we did is we do a triangulation with our team and to see if they can find a difference. Well, there is difference. So we cannot change the coffee. We cannot change the milk because it is too different, just the milk itself. But then we confirm it again with the milk and the coffee and then do the triangulation with iced milk coffee. We still find the difference. So we cannot use the milk. But if you find a product that can replace that milk and it tastes the same, then okay. Maybe we will consider not using this milk versus the one that we use organic milk. Maybe we will consider about this one because we cannot find a difference. And then we will start, what would make me consider about this product that they presented to us? Okay, what's the price? What's the minimum of orders? How long is your shelf life? And the cost? What's your credit line or credit term? How many days and blah, blah, blah. But first, the sensory you have to pass before I even start considering about something else. We can't just, come in, taste cup number 1, cup number 2. No difference. No, that is not science. It's just feeling. Okay, you need to do triangulation to confirm your products before you make any decision that would affect your sensory taste on the consumer and affect your budget. Good. Okay. Anyone want a quick snack break?
Oh, would be nice. Would be nice.
Yes.
5 minutes.
I want. Okay.
10 minutes.
5 or 6 minutes. 5-10 minutes. I will come back about 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes. On the hours. We will start on the hours. Same as usual. Come. I'll go get some snack too. กลับมายังครับนัดไปทำ frappuccino with a lot of sugar very good aftertaste amazing caramel ใส่ไปหลายปั๊ม
same
See, I like working because working has a lot of coffee. If I stay home, I don't get coffee.
why someone control
No, at home it has to be decaffeinated coffee only because my wife, she's like, okay, I'm giving breastfeeding, so no caffeine. It's good. By the way, decaffeinated coffee is a good market. Nah. I think everyone, as I mentioned last session, no, at foundation level, a decaffeinated coffee is very interesting. And a decaffeinated Robusta coffee is very good. There is in Vietnam, they use Robusta to make decaf coffee. So I think they create a lot of value out of that because Robusta price very low, but if you make it decaf, the price is higher. So that's one way to increase the value. โอเคทุกคนมาแล้วนะครับ Can I continue now? I'm gonna go on now นะครับผม quickly ขอบคุณครับ Mr. Kim for nodding ไม่งั้นเราไม่รู้ว่าใครได้ยิน How do I know if my microphone is working or not? Okay, I'm back and let's continue with my caffeine going and the sugar content in this cup with long sweetness and amazing aftertaste. I will speak a little bit fast. So the panel selection, right? You already done. Now you need to set up your sensory panel, and that is also mentioned under cupping handbooks. That there is a section where you can select your panel, cupper handbook. In the back, like right there. 1 second. Panel right here. เลย Here, cupping panel selection. Okay. In this one, you can start looking into it and you need to do one couple panel selection by basic taste. And then you do it again, identification, ranking, and test, and you do it again with basic test combinations. Okay. We already mentioned this one. You can combine the taste and you check them if their nose is working by asking them to smell this aroma. Okay, that's a lot of aroma to remember. So that is one of the steps you can use your panel. Okay. But then this triangulation will also help. Triangulation will help. But if they already passed that exam, is pretty hard already. So discrimination test, which is the triangulation where we can discriminate different tastes, is important. So you can check if there is any off flavor or any taint in it, and you can QC your products with quality assurance. You can check the threshold if they find a sensitivity, like I mentioned, sweet, less sweet, salt, saltier, something like that. You can check your sensitivity threshold to check that as well. On the other hand, descriptive test is characterize the difference in how large it is. For example, this one is sweeter than that one, has longer body, is juicier, blah, blah. And which is different from the discriminative test. Oh, this one is different. And that's period. There is no need to tell. But descriptive test, you need to tell and describe. It's pretty much what the Q grader do. Q grader will describe. We don't do the test, we just describe the coffee, descriptive analysis, sensory. So that is one way to do it, but that's the test. But if it's a test for consumer, the very easy test for consumer is the one in the black book research, the one earlier, that do you like it or you don't like it? Okay, that's the consumer test. Very interesting one. And if you want to train, for example, we already mentioned, if you want to train and you start creating this test to find your panel, there is a formal, informal, there is quantitative and qualitative and all this, different type of tests, which you will have to design if it's for your expert, or is it a trained tester, or is it for a consumer. You don't want to make it too complicated for the consumer, and you do not want to make it too easy for the expert. นะครับ And if you want to practice something, so you have to understand that different tests, for example, discriminative is very objective. Descriptive is also very objective. But consumer is very subjective. นะครับ Do you like it or you don't like it? That is really based on personal. But descriptive is very important to do. When we do triangulation, that is a discriminative test. Is there a difference? A dual trio test or in or out test or 2 out of 5? What is the difference? Can you find the difference? That is one of the tests that you can do to check if they can be qualified to be part of the panels. นะครับผม On the other hand, descriptive test, the QDA is how they describe in sensory lexicon. So let's look at the lexicon. Apple. Let's see apple. Put up here. Okay. Apple. Descriptive. They will do and tell you apple. It's sweet, it's light, fruity, somewhat floral aroma, with commonly associated with fresh or processed apple. So that is describing. You need to be able to describe them, and so we understand what you are talking about. So this is QDA process for the sensory lexicon. And there is a check all that apply, CATA. It's also sometimes it's so hard to think of this sensory note on my head, right? But if you write it down, then I can just check all that apply. Okay, yes, this one, I smell chocolate, I smell aroma, I think, yes. Hazelnut, yeah, sure. Chocolate, I don't know, butter, yes, is there. Oh, no, nothing burnt. So check all that apply is one of the very easy descriptive tests that you can do to collect the data from your data pool, from your group of table, your group, so that would help you as well. The point is, you need to find the purpose for what type of panel, and that is best for your business. นะครับผม Best for your business, suitable for your business, because there is the one say that's about resources. Do you have the budget to train people? Right? Do you have the budget to train everybody? Do you have the budget to make everyone a Q grader in your places? Or what is the budget? That is important. So the learner, for you guys, need to, what is the business? What is your challenge? Is your challenge the timing or the people? And what is your challenge? And the best type of the panel that you can create it with. นะครับ อันนี้ขอเป็นโฮมเวิร์กนะครับ ขออนุญาตยกให้อาจารย์คำพลนะครับผมพรุ่งนี้ช่วยบอกผมนิดนึงว่าถ้าไฮไลท์ถ้าพี่คำพลอยากจะมีแพนลของพี่จะเป็นแบบไหนนะครับผมแพนลของท่านพี่จะเป็นแบบไหนดีแพนลของท่านพี่จะเอามาทำอะไรในองค์กรของเรานะครับผมนะโอเคและคิดว่าพรุ่งนี้นะยังไม่ต้องวันนี้เป็นการบ้านนะครับผมลองดูโอเค
Okay.
And เอาใครอีกดีเอา BB ด้วย BB ซึ่งมีร้านกาแฟอยู่ใน BB ผู้ซึ่งมีร้านกาแฟอยู่ก็จะมี panel ที่ต่างกันแน่นอนถูกปะพี่กำพลจะมี panel อยู่แบบหนึ่ง BB ต้องทำกันบ้านให้พี่นิดนึงว่า business ของ BB คืออะไรแล้วก็ identify the challenge และ challenge ของ B ถ้าเกิดจะทำ panel selection ขึ้นมาเนี่ยเอามาทำอะไรและคิดว่า panel ไหนที่จะเหมาะกับของเรามากที่สุดนะครับผมเพราะฉะนั้นของพี่กำพลอาจจะเป็น train tester หรือแบบว่า expert ก็ได้ของ B อาจจะทำ panel เพื่อเช็ครสชาติว่าเป็นยังไงโดยใช้ consumer ในการทำก็ได้แล้วถ้าเกิดจะทำเป็น protocol แบบไหนทำเป็น triangulation หรือ check all that apply หรือ in or out หรืออะไรยังไงก็ได้นะครับผมลองดูว่าเราสามารถทำอะไรได้บ้างนะครับ thank you กันบ้านทั้งสองท่านตัวแทนขอบคุณมากครับเวลาผมใช้ what I do usually a lot of triangulation is used for me when I change the batch size of roasting. When I change the batch size, usually I would roast at 2 kilo, now I roast 6 kilo, and I want it to taste the same. I try to have the same color and everything else, and make sure that coffee still tastes the same. Yeah, triangulation will help. And when I change from one roaster to the next roaster, a different roasting machine, and hoping it will have the same taste, yeah, triangulation will help, because that is very important. So panel is screening, the best practice for screening. So the reason that you do a lot of screening earlier so that you will have find the right people that can work with you. Rely on sensitivity. Not you want to people that join your panel that is not based on their status. Oh, because he is, someone guru in coffee business, he should join the panel and add, no, we don't want that person. Okay. We want that person because he can taste the difference of the basic taste. We want the person because he passed the olfactory exam or olfactory test. We want this person because he actually passed the discriminative test. So that is one way to do it. Do not use people just because he has a high status or experience or something in business. Okay, so that is one of the example. So if you want to do sensory training, Mr. Kamson, he want to do a training, it will take at least 6 months to get your crew working. It takes some time. And this training, sometimes you train differently. For example, you can train, first of all, you need to train your brain. Or you train your sensory first. That's up to you because in the end, according to Coffee Mind said training sensory is about bringing your memory out to work. So in order to bring your memory out to work, you have to have a good memory and a good way to pull out that information from your head to get from the cup to your head and write it down. So there is 2 ways to do it. Brain training first, memorize a number, calculation a number, understand whatever number it is. Just like how I ask you every day, what's the 9 aroma? I'm making you training your brain before you even start smelling. Okay, that is brain training. And then there's the hypothesis is there is no different. So they create into 2 groups. One group, you do the brain first, then you practice the sensory. Another group, you do the sensory first, then you practice the brain. And this is being done at their doctor level, at their PhD level by Ida Steen in Coffee Mind with Morton Marshall. They do together and they call sensory performance. And then they want to evaluate. However, this process takes about 6 months. That's a long time to do it. So if you want to practice, that's a long time. And this is your training pyramid. Training pyramid is about what you remember on your right, what you remember. There you go. What you remember, because we are now at the bottom. We are now at the 20%, okay? Because we only watch, read, listen to the presentation, watch TV, listen to radio. That's only 20%, okay? That is why next week we need to discuss, train, and make exercise to get that 20% of what you remember up to 75%, okay? And during that exercise, as you can see, that's why Cindy is there to do play, teach other, and work with a coach. So she remember more. Like, for example, today Cindy is doing an exam for LCA. She doing it again, so she will remember how to do it. Then she go to Vientiane again to repeat it again. She will remember more. That is one way to train, but that is why we require an in-person training. So everybody visit and then do the training. It cannot be done like virtually. Virtually, you only get 20% of learning. We want a 75%. We want to practice and work. To be able for you guys to get 70% is to participate by, play with your friends. For example, let me coding this aroma for you. What is the aroma? Guess. That is you coaching your friend. You will learn more. And then your friend coaching you back, then he will learn something too. Also, when we do triangulation, as you can see, there is 2 tables. One team set for another team set for another team. Then you will remember, okay, how to set the triangulation. So that is the only way to play, teach other, and work with the coach to learn more. Okay. So that is pretty much a lot of stuff screening tester already. Yep. Objective for internal analysis, that's for the business. And as already mentioned, when you want to do triangulation, you can do with everything else, right? You can even do with cappuccino and latte. Or if you want to test and evaluate a coffee, you check the profile. So you need to test them with the final products. Okay, that would be the best way to evaluate a coffee. I have a lot of questions from students when they ask, should I make my roast very good and extract espresso very balanced? I say no, because it depends on your final products. If your final product is cappuccino and latte and iced cappuccino and a latte, that means your final product need to have a lot of milk and a lot of water and a lot of ice that will dilute the sense of coffee. Therefore, if you want to extract your coffee need to have enough body. You need to have certain, it should be under extract or over extract to represent certain characteristics of that coffee. And if you roast your coffee too light, it will be so hard to extract for the barista, and the barista need to work harder. But if you make it too dark, your coffee would have certain flavor. But the point is, what you want to do with your coffee, you need to test it with your final products, But that is different from coffee gradings, okay? What else? I think that's pretty much what it is on the sensory. Our test that we will get to do is the same as a discrimination test, but we will prepare something like a sample. This is the reference, this is the sample. Do you think it's the same, or how different do you think it is? Okay, you would have something like, let me show you. Here, our test. Oh, okay. Sure. I think it's on another paper. 1 second. Here. So on the activity, you have something like this for acidity, 4 level. That we will be coding we will be coding. We will be a lot of coding. A lot of coding. Just so that you can get to practice. And then we will do some milk, as mentioned. We will do a lot of coding with the milk. And we have the aromas that you guys have to do the set, practice them already in that book. You need to practice all these 4 category of the aromas. Then you have to be able to do this one. That are the 9 aromas that when we blind code it to you, you need to know which one is which one. And then there is coffee that we coding, a lot of coding, but we don't know what it is. Even I don't remember that. I have to find out in the Excel later. And everything will be coded like this one. Which one is sweeter, which one is sour, which one is bitter. So everything we are coding, like a lot of coding happen. Just to make sure that everybody get to enjoy the fun, a lot of coding. And then we do triangulations. And the triangulation is not part of the exam, is it? Oh yeah, it is part of the exam, but it's not that hard. So we have this coffee, we're coding the numbers. We do it again, we're coding the numbers again. And then we use this significant level of 5% and using this table to make sure that, to state that there's different or there's no difference between 2 coffee. We refer back to this table again after the triangulations. Then if we have time, we will start to do some of the in or out coffee. If it's same or is it different, duo or trio test. Okay, find the difference, duo or trio. Then we do cupping. When we do full cupping, it will be a lot of coffee. Coffee number 1, coffee number 2, coffee number 3, coffee number 4, coffee number 5, and coffee number 6. So that is a lot of work next week. Then there is in or out activity, which I already prepared, but that is only if we have time because it's not part of the exam. It's nice if we have time to do it, so we get to try a different type of exam. It would be something like this. This is not the answer key anyway, so I can show it to you. So in or out, there is a B as a reference copy, for example. And then I put an A, I put a B, I put a C, okay? A would be big difference because I don't know, maybe A has a strong difference from the B, from the reference, which is the one in the black here, okay? So it is different. That is, but if the cupper tests the B, which is here, B is very or little difference in sourness. And C has a little bit sourness difference of level 2. This is something that we can create it to make sure that your panel is able to identify the difference and the threshold of their ability. Big difference or less difference. And it could be something like this too. We have 4 levels now. Therefore, when we do a lot of exam, when we do a lot of practical, there is so many ways we can choose people into your sensory panel. There is so many ways that we can do that. Here, basic discrimination test where we use a lot of coffee. We use 3 coffees, ABC. And we do triangulations, okay? And you guys need to be able to identify the different cup. The way we arrange it is just the same way as we mentioned already. 6 sets. One set had 3 cups, and it could be like this. That is one way to do it. Just like triangulation in the red book that they already mentioned. Okay. And then test this pro and con. Okay, this is how it looks. In or out, duo, trio, and triangulations. It's just how we practice, and that's the practical part next week. So that is, and then the last thing, just 3 slides. for sensory นะครับ for sensory analytical test is when you want to measure everything before you taste them so you can associate the sensory perception with the numbers. For example, no? Rose color, green coffee density, green coffee moisture content. Why? Because, for example, for me, I associate everything with rose color because I find this rose color 70%, 70 acron will have acidity, fruitiness, and balance for this coffee. If you can associate that, it would be nice. And then, but in the green coffee business, we focus on density. A coffee with low density would have this flavor. A coffee with higher density would have another flavors, another complexity. Same with moisture content. Coffee with low moisture content would tend to have some woody flavor. Coffee with have higher content have some flavor. ครับพี่คำสอน
quick question because when I look at the list of the tune that we have, we may have only the moisture meter. We will not have the color analyzer and also density measure.
You don't need it because all the color has already been measured by me. So rose color, we have it.
But how about density?
Density, you can measure it yourself.
So we can find a cylinder.
Exactly.
So I will ask the participant here who has a standard cylinder.
ไม่ต้อง cylinder ก็ได้ you can use a cup or a bowl or something. Right? And then you just measure the entire bowl. What's the weight, the density? What's the weight of that per volume? And then that is the volume in ml. And then you put the green coffee onto it. And then the green coffee gram divided by the volume, you get the density. ใช่ไหม gram per volume, you get density. So that means gram per ml, you get the density. Just fill the cup. Any container is fine. ถ้วยอะไรก็ได้เทน้ำให้เต็มถ้วยแล้วก็จะได้น้ำปริมาณน้ำก็จะบอกเป็นกรัมท่วมแต่ว่ามันคือ volume in ml is 1-to-1 density and then we put the coffee make sure it's flat on that bowl flat tight pack then you use that กรัมตรงนั้นที่ชั่งได้ตรงนั้น divided by the gram of the water that you weigh that's your density okay นะ
Okay, I can use the big bottle, water bottle, empty water bottle.
ได้ oh no bottle you need to measure the volume ก่อน you need to measure the volume yeah water. Todd has it something like Todd has it is okay too but Todd be careful Todd can you show me again
Yeah.
yes and the thing is on this one you need to actually don't trust it because it say 1000 ml right on that
500.
okay this is 500 right so
Yep.
have you ever checked if at the 500 ml line you actually put 500 grams of water
Not yet, but I can do that.
yeah because that happened to me that 1000 ml line does not produce 1000 grams of water it's only like 980 so I have to check like where is my 1000 grams of in that volume so that is another line for me like a little bit up half a quarter inch up so that's why you need to check and calibrate your equipment all the time don't trust it
So
like
you just add water and then weigh the weight of the water, and then wherever that line is, just put a mark there, huh?
yes if it's 500
Yep.
ใช่ just or you can do a 100 you can do a 200 to see if it the 100 grams on your scale versus the 100 or 200 mark on the tubeนะครับผม just to make sure that it is consistent because it wasn't scientific equipment, it was just some equipment that we can buy from the website, pretty cheap, 200-300 baht. Not so bad. Thank you for showing. And bring it to the class so they can check how you calculate that. Have you used it before?
No, I haven't started using it yet.
Okay, you can try see how it is, and if you fill the coffee, just fill the coffee to that 500-gram line. Okay, where you fill the water up to the 500, right? And then you just use the weight of the coffee divided by the 500. You should have something, I think, divided by or multiply 2. Or yeah, you would get the density because it's based on 1000 anyway. Yeah, multiply 2 divided by 5 is the same thing. Now you get the same numbers. Thank you. So basically, if you have that density or you don't have it, you just measure it, and you have green coffee density, you have rose color, it would help you associate that sensory assessment that you have. And once you just practice more and get more informations, and it's become one of the data that you can use. Sometimes when they come on the table, oh, this coffee, why is so bitter? Oh, okay, because it's darker color. Oh, why this one is so green, so astringent? Ah, because they roasted too light. That can be one of the tests that can help you support your analysis, your test. Another thing that is very expensive are this O2 analysis, very expensive. Back-seal pressure test, I think it's very expensive. SCA coffee cupping sensory test. That's what we do, coffee cupping. Something that we can associate with, for example, rose color, as they say. Rose color, underdeveloped flavor, okay, from something too light or too dark. And moisture content too high or too low will associate with faded, moldy, musty, woody, or something else. That can also happen too. Then analytical test, density measure. This is very expensive, and they can produce stale, rancid, and oxidized tests. Sometimes if the coffee is too old, how do you know? Well, we did an O2 test, and there's a lot of oxygen in your bag of coffee. This means there's too much oxidation in your coffee. So that's why your coffee tastes old. รสชาติเก่าๆหืนๆเหม็นหืน okay? So that is one way to do it. Any question on the sensory part before we take like a 10-minute break and we come back for a quick green coffee? Okay, any questions? Well, this is your chance before we go to 10-minute breaks. Mark my 10 minutes.
I have a quick question, if possible, about
go for it.
How do you decide about when it's good to share information about coffee and what would create a bias as opposed to helpful information? For example, you talked about it's okay to know, okay, this is coffee from Indonesia, so we know it's going to be, it should be like this, so that helps with the evaluation. But for example, like, are there other things that would be good to share, like processing method or variety, or is that information that we shouldn't know when we're cupping?
It depends on your objective. It depends on your purpose of that cupping table. As I mentioned, if you are replacing your coffee bean, because cupping is about evaluating the coffee, right? The coffee bean. And it's about selecting what coffee bean you want to use or the quality of it. Therefore, you usually know, or your panel usually know what is their job. Their job is to grade the coffee. And usually when you are replacing a coffee, you will be replacing of the same coffee. If it's a Brazil table, then the entire table will be Brazil, just from different source, right? then you can tell them it's a Brazil. I just want to know which one, what character it is, what taste note you get. Just go ahead and do the work. And they totally understand. Okay, this is Brazil. I will grade my coffee. Brazil natural, right? Okay, Brazil natural. Brazil natural, not gonna, it could be sweet, you know. We just tell them Brazil natural. We do not tell them the varieties. Sometimes they get this, you have 6 on the table, but one is Caturra, one is Caturra, one is yellow bourbon. You just want to know, I have Brazil on the table. It might be just 3 Brazil on the, 6 Brazil on the table, but actually maybe you were setting up just one of the 3 varieties that you want to know which one you want to use. So you set it double. Just I mentioned, no? A ตรงนี้ A ตรงนู้น B ตรงนี้ B ตรงนี้ C ตรงนี้ C ตรงนู้น okay? You just double it up and just see how the score is and you just select from that. But you can tell them right away. The only time we do not tell them is pretty much, ไม่ค่อยมีนะ Usually we tell what the where's the coffee is from on that evaluations. Except, I don't know, Q grader class, they tell at least the region. Southeast Asian coffee, African coffee, Central America, South America coffee. Yeah, they tell us at least that. At least they tell where it is, and they also tell the process. Wash, honey. They don't have honey. Wash, natural. They tell us that. So it's okay for you to tell them, except for maybe competition. Even though when you do competitions, right? Lao coffee competition, you know it's Lao coffee without telling you. But that competition, you need to split the table. This table is wash process. This table is honey process. This table is natural process. At least, then they still tell you, this is Lao coffee wash process. See, now you know, okay? But you do not tell them, this coffee from that guy. This coffee from that farm. We don't tell them that, okay? That's supposed to be coded and, you know, yeah. Yep. Questions? เอากี่นาทีครับพี่คำสอน
No question at this moment.
กลัวอดไปกิน เดี๋ยวไม่ได้กินน้ำใช่ไหม So
The question may come during the practicum, because
yeah.
right now we have more, how to say, imagination. Maybe when we do
yes.
the practice, some, you know, some question maybe already answer there. That's what
Yes.
we do expect.
That's good. So when we come back, we will be back with, I don't know, just like 200 more slides that I will go quickly on coffee, on, yeah, green coffee. We show you like this. Okay. This one I give you a long break, นะครับ เพราะว่า I'm gonna change the section anyway. So maybe on the hours, okay, man? 15 minutes. นะครับ We'll start at 4 and we finish at 5. And then tomorrow we'll continue. นะครับผม Okay, let's take a break. I'll be right back. I'll pause this video and cut the section too.